The government has deliberately sought to deceive the United States by false statements and expressions of hope for continued peace.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network. OutlawRadioNetwork.com.
This country can't be knocked out with one punch. We get right back up again, and when we do, the world's going to hear the roar of our engines.
I don't think I've ever heard this intro before, Paul.
Was that not a
Have we
cool
ever
intro?
played that before?
We have not.
What do you think of that intro, Strip?
You remember last week when I was playing those audio clips?
He was
Yes.
going. Yeah, he was going
was-
through
I
and
was-
labeling.
I wasn't really labeling them. I was finding out if they were safe and if they were actually good for which hour they were good for. So
The in-studio monitor's not on, by the way.
That was,
so
and you liked that one.
I did.
Did
like
you hear
that.
the first beginning of
No,
it?
I
It
did
was
not hear the
Winston,
first beginning.
It
I
was
was talking to
Winston Churchill. No, I'm sorry. It was FDR, and I had edited it up a little bit. It was his Pearl Harbor speech, and he was talking about how they've deliberately misled America and da-da-da-da-da and all this other stuff. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll have to have him play it again maybe at the beginning of the next
Yeah, that
hour.
would be cool. That'd
And
be
that way
right.
you can hear the whole thing. So how you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you? Outlaw Radio Network, St. Paul, the voice of reason.
K-Dog, the loose cannon.
Thanks for checking out the show.
The
the
loose cannon, by the way.
Yeah, the final November of 2013. Can you believe the year is already almost over?
I can. Yes.
It's I can't. It just this year has flown by. There has been so much that's listen. If you think about what we've seen during this calendar year, from the think about how long ago it feels like Obama started this term, his second term. No, I'm not.
You're right. It's been painfully long.
No. I'm not asking you to insert your partisan anti-Obama thing here. I'm just talking just from a time element. If you think about the fact that he started in office 10 months ago, 10 and a half months ago, it feels like so much longer ago than that he kicked off his second term because we've seen so many things happen in the last 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Obamacare and all of that, and the federal shutdown, all the stuff now that we're seeing with Iran. It feels like it's been so much longer than that. I feel like Obama's been president for 15 years.
Yeah, right.
You know,
But listen here,
I'm not being mean. I'm not saying good or bad. It feels like this presidency has just.
On an honest, strange note, my brother,
Yeah.
I can tell you, this year has been exactly as long as last year. I know it feels like it's going by faster, but it has been the exact
No,
same
I know,
amount of time.
but I just mean it just. In one sense, it feels like it's flying by. On the other hand, it feels like when we talk about politics and we talk about the Obama administration and the gridlock that is D.C., it feels like this has been going on forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just the maybe it's the fact that the discussions we're having now are the same discussions we had a year ago. What were the things we were talking about at the beginning of this year? It was Obamacare. It was the failure of the government to pass a budget. It was how do we deal with Iran and North Korea. Now, we're not really talking about North Korea, but we're still talking about Iran. I mean, the conversations a year later are the exact same conversations.
Yeah, well, that should tell you something. And I understand where you're coming from, and I'm not trying to insert my political beliefs into this, and we're going to talk about this here shortly. And again, just for brief overview for some of the people that are listening tonight, some of the things that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what's going on in Japan.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we've talked about Japan. We're going to talk about, and actually there's two topics on Japan that we're going to discuss. One being the conflict that is beginning to slowly erupt and fester like a bad pimple with China. And then and what's going on with the debris field that is traveling towards the west coast of the United States and the current state of affairs as they exist within the Fukushima radiation our nuclear reactor. Because there's something that actually most people aren't aware of that we're going to make a lot of people aware of tonight. The first mainstream media news outlet ran a story about it. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, and it's something that literally affects everybody on the west coast of the United States. And again, it's a big deal. So.
And as we talk about that, too, I want to tell you about something a friend of mine told me. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not going to try to spark panic or nothing by this statement, but I was told something about Fukushima and if another tidal wave hit, what that would mean for us. And so I'm just going to tell you what he told me, and you can tell me if it's true. So I'll ask it when we get there.
I will, because actually that does directly tie in. It's almost specifically what we're going to talk about.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Whether-
Yeah, something he told me about that it might be the exact same thing.
Man, people need to stop watching Doomsday Preppers so much.
No, yeah. right?
Do you watch Tuesday Preppers? Do
I
you
don't.
watch it? No.
No,
Straight to you?
I do from time to time if I'm looking for something to watch. Some of them actually kind
Some of them are. Like the dude who built the invisible treehouse to save his family.
yeah, I saw a commercial for that one.
Yeah, I'm thinking
God.
great idea. As long as the people walking by you aren't blind, But hey, that's just me.
Yeah, can I reference one thing we talked about? I think it was last week. Maybe was last week when we talked about Martin Bashir, or was it the week before?
Well, we might talk about that a little bit more tonight too, because he's coming under a lot of fire and he had to issue an apology. But
can I say one thing though, as far as Martin Bashir goes? It's the Miley Cyrus idea of media, which is you take somebody who's completely irrelevant, Martin Bashir. Mm-hmm. You say outrageous things. Mm-hmm. Every media outlet in the world picks it up. They're now talking about you. They make you relevant. And as Jameson White, former owner of KITC Radio, said, bad press in the media is good press. And Martin Bashir made himself relevant and made himself talked about for a week.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
Or
his comments were completely idiotic. And I'm
Or
not a big
somebody's
Sarah
just
Palin
covering
fan.
something else.
listen, I there's a reason why Jameson White isn't in radio anymore, and that attitude is part of it. Again, this
I hope
is
he's listening.
this is it was really pointed out well this morning on a couple of the morning talk shows.
Yeah.
That MSNBC has taken the idea of commentary on subjects. In fact, a very liberal newspaper editor, New York Times, Washington Post, these guys made the comment that the reason MSNBC is so far behind in the ratings, that what they've done is they've allowed their commentators to go for more and more shock value, irrespective of its journalistic value. Their point that they were making is there's zero journalistic value left on MSNBC. Zero. None. They are so far to the left, and they don't hide it. There's no attempt at being neutral on any subject anymore with them, that they no longer have appeal as a news outlet. And as such, in order to generate ratings and conversation, have gotten more and more and more extreme in their talking points and in their conversations. I mean, here's the sad part about what Martin Bashir did in his comments about comparing Sarah Palin to a slave that needed to be, well, X, Y, and Z, have all these things done to her.
Right.
Somebody wrote that. That was an entirely prepared monologue with graphics. Martin Bashir didn't do that, even though in his apology he tried to state that he did. Listen, no journalist, no talk show host on those networks who has a production staff of 15 people does that stuff on their own. None of them.
Well, hold on. And when you say does that stuff, you're not implying he didn't write it, because it's very possible he wrote the script for that he wrote his own op-ed. But what you're talking about is the graphics, the display, the things that pop up on the screen,
or even the research. They don't even do their own research.
They don't have the time for the research.
So
the thing on the graphics on the screen that you read that say Sarah Palin is XYZ.
Yep.
All that stuff is done by a group of highly trained people that have gone to school for a long time to learn all their computer skills and learn how to use these very specific programs that allows them.
Unlike guys like us who have taught ourselves how to do it all on our own.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't have a student loan debt for that.
And listen, it's disappointing, because you need news outlets. You need multiple news outlets. Mm-hmm. Fox leans to the right. You need somebody that leans a little to the left, but still tries to do news. Still has journalistic integrity. I'm sorry, there is zero journalistic integrity left at MSNBC. I think I pointed this out once before. At least on Fox, they will, when they sit down and they discuss an issue, they will have somebody that has one opinion about it and somebody with the opposite opinion about it. They will have a point-counterpoint on almost every single show, every single discussion. You turn on MSNBC, and it is an exceptional rarity to see anybody that's not a member of the church choir sitting there across the table from whoever the person is that's doing the story. No, it's the truth.
Yeah, but
listen, I'm not making
be fair
this
though.
up.
Be fair.
That's not fair.
Fox does what CNN does when they bring an opposing view guest on. It's like Fox will bring in. Let's bring in Mike Huckabee to discuss this issue. And from the left, we're going to bring on Uncle Bob from backwoods Wisconsin.
Okay,
and what I mean by that is you bring a guy that has some name recognition, instant credibility, and then the person that they put up against him either isn't as credible name-wise, doesn't have the recognition, doesn't speak with the same eloquence, isn't able to define the points, or just the angle at which the table is set.
Yeah, you think
and
that's
the fact,
true? I don't think that's
I
true
think
at
it's true. Just in not every instance, but in a lot of the instances I see, they'll give their prime conservative guy the floor, and then the guy who's rebutting it will start to rebut, and they'll allow him to get cut off. He'll be interrupted, and I don't fault them for that because, again, I see the exact same thing out of CNN. I expect that because that's the angle you're coming from. But let's not pretend like this totally level playing field, because I don't think it is.
No, I never said.
Yeah,
I never said that.
Yeah, I wanted to get that out.
CNN leans a little to the left. Fox leans a little to the right. MSNBC, remember their slogan, forward. They walked forward, tipped over, fell down to the left.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's just, they're so far in the tank for the administration. You know that the president last week was in such dire straits for positive promotional press. Do you know what he did last week? He contacted Fox and got Juan Williams from Fox, who's a liberal commentator on Fox. And then he contacted MSNBC and CNN. MSNBC sent every single one of their daytime commentators, Ed Schultz, Martin Bashir,
who's the dude with the glasses?
The socialist guy, I forget his name off the top of my head. Anyway,
Chris, somebody?
Anyway, there were like 6 or 7 extremely leftist liberals that are members of the press that he invited to the White House. Now, they won't disclose what was discussed, but I have a real problem with the press, anybody in the press, and they're excuse me. He did the same thing last year, but he invited Charles Krauthammer and 2 other. There was like a total of 3 conservative columnists that he brought to the White House to have a discussion with them about Obamacare and his plans. That information, those journalists made public. Mm-hmm. I have a real problem with the president inviting a half a dozen journalists, most from one network, to come to the White House to have a secret meeting. What conceivable point of journalism? How could you ever marry the two? You should not ever be able to marry those two. Journalists
it is very chummy.
Journalists should never, ever be sitting down with the very individual they're supposed to be at the very least neutral towards.
Yeah.
And at the most, while doing their job, critical of. And it reeks of this stench of the problem. And the points that were made this morning about Martin Bashir and MSNBC was that they've gone so far into the tank and so far over the top with their rhetoric that they have actually encouraged this frothing, divisive nature that now engulfs this country like a bad disease. They are stoking these flames. It's bad enough when you got Fox just basically arguing with the president about everything. The goddamn president went on to national television last week and was essentially laying the blame for the Obamacare failures rollout at the feet of Fox News. I mean, it was pathetically bad.
Well, I will say
Did you
this.
see that? Did you see?
I listen. I will say this though. That there's one point that's lost in this entire thing. I find it amazingly funny, and not funny, haha, but funny as in what? That Republicans are blasting the Obama administration for the rollout of the website when
it's not
this is the same group of people that hasn't been able to propose or pass anything remotely resembling a counterproposal.
Kevin, you bring up an excellent point.
And I agree that there are flaws in the website, things that could have been done differently, things that should have been done differently. The website is a flawed piece, excuse my language, of horse shit. Okay, but we're talking about a group of opposition that hasn't done anything besides vote 47 times in the last 3 years to overturn it. They haven't come up with a counterproposal. They haven't come up with a counter plan. They haven't done anything productive.
Actually,
besides say, overturn it.
Kevin, first of all, and again, I know that you don't sit down and read this stuff all day like I do because you're actually very busy with work, and I'm Polish. So here's
and trying to undermine the fabric of our community.
Right. Listen, actually, the Republicans have presented alternative plans. A couple of times. The problem is with those alternative plans, Kevin, as you are well aware, that they are in the the minority. Any plan that they put forth will never even come up for a vote. So no matter what, or I shouldn't say that, because it would come up for a vote in the House, but it'd never get past the Senate anyway. So
but that doesn't stop them from.
Yes, it does. It becomes a waste of time.
But hold on. But why is that a waste of time when then voting to overturn Obamacare is not a waste of time when they know it'll never clear the Senate?
You're seeing why it's a waste. Why it wasn't a waste of time.
But do you understand my point, though? Because if option number one is, well, we're not even going to put our proposals forward because it'll never clear the House because the Senate will shoot it down, it's a waste of time. But then they vote 47 times, let's overturn Obamacare, when they know it'll never clear the Senate. But that's not a waste of time. No, I would just like to see. I want to see proactive resolution. And I'm not saying this because it's the Republicans, because I really do believe that if the roles were reversed, I'd be saying the same things to the Dems. Listen, if you want to be the guy in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square with your hand up in the air saying, hey, let's stop the tank, then that's all good and well, but you're going to get run over. You have to have a counter idea that's going to balance.
They put their counter ideas out there. So, I mean, they're there. All you got to do is, do a search under.
Right, but don't you think it would give more momentum to those ideas before the American people if they said, not only are we voting to overturn Obamacare, but the Republicans have passed in the House a bill that would do X, Y, and Z, that would fix X, Y, and Z, and we're going to send it to the Senate. So and if the Senate chooses to shoot it down, then that's on the Senate. But we've done our job. Yeah. The big issue out of the House, specifically in Congress in general, is that they're doing nothing but impeding, and they're not proposing solutions. They're just saying no. And it's why in the next half hour we'll talk about the nuclear option. The perception is you have a bunch of people, 455 of them, in fact, that the perception is no one is doing anything to help. They just don't want to tie cement blocks to the car to make sure it doesn't go anywhere.
Again, I understand that. I mean, I understand that argument. The problem is that the reality of the situation clearly isn't being articulated well to you, and that lies directly at the feet of Republicans for not articulating that argument better. Instead, what they've done is they've allowed some of the Tea Party members to go out there and become front people and be made to look like foolish morons in the face of the American public. When the reality is all they've been trying to do all along is saying, we've read this bill. This is a bad bill. These are the things that are going to go wrong. And guess what? Now these things are going wrong.
Let's talk about this next, including the nuclear option. What is it? What does it mean? And why is it good or bad? We're back after this.
Get Outlaw.
Heather Madden, former machinist, wins success as a skilled professional rock star.
No more working dusty old machine shops for me. Being the boss of my own professional rock band has improved my life in every way, and I owe it all to the cool gear at Kitsap Music.
What do you want? Substantial spare time? Groupies? Leather pants? Use only certified cool products from Kitsap Music.
As Kitsap County's largest maintenance provider, Team Innovative in Paulsbo provides commercial and residential maintenance to hundreds of millions of dollars of local real estate. With services including parking lot maintenance and street cleaning to landscape and design, Team Innovative is committed to using a green approach and following a strong environmental conscience. Team Innovative Services, 697-6858, or visit them online at getinnovative.net. Team Innovative Services, get serious, get innovative.
Make a difference in your community and volunteer at Kitsap Humane Society. We have opportunities for everyone and need help in all areas of the shelter. You can clean, feed, and help socialize animals, or answer phones, greet customers, and help run special events and fundraisers. KHS volunteers also lead programs including our foster program, canine training, and animal-assisted therapy. If you are interested in volunteering at Kitsap Humane Society, visit our website at kitsap-humane.org.
I'm Elaine Terso with Elaine Terso Photography. I've partnered with Ish Vintage Clothing, the Oxford Suites, and Parties by a Perfect Place to create our unique boudoir, glam, and pinup parties, which is perfect for a girls' night out or bachelorette parties. You choose your theme, get your hair and makeup done, play dress up for the evening, and then receive an accordion booklet of your photos, plus an 8x10 of your favorite photo. For parties or 7 or more, the hostess is free. For more information about our unique parties, visit my website, ElaineTersophotography.com.
As Kitsap County's largest maintenance provider, Team Innovative in Paulsbo provides commercial and residential maintenance to hundreds of millions of dollars of local real estate. With services including parking lot maintenance and street cleaning to landscape and design, Team Innovative is committed to using a green approach and following a strong environmental conscience. Team Innovative Services, 697-6858, or visit them online at getinnovative.net. Team Innovative Services, get serious, get innovative.
The government has deliberately sought to deceive the United States by false statements and expressions of hope for continued peace.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network. OutlawRadioNetwork.com.
This country can't be knocked out with one punch. We get right back up again, and when we do, the world's going to hear the roar of our engines.
Is that Clint at the
Yes.
end? That's
Yeah.
what I thought, yeah.
Yeah, you know what that's from?
That's from when you talk to the empty chair? No?
No. That was from his infamous Super Bowl halftime commercial.
Oh, from the Oldsmobile commercial.
Yeah. I just thought it was a couple of great lines out of that commercial, so I kind of stole them.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So, Outlaw Radio Network, St. Paul, the voice of reason.
K-Dog, the loose cannon on edgemediasource.com.
For Desi as well to tag in the media, I didn't tell her this earlier. At 8 o'clock, we're going to branch a little bit out of this. We'll come back to it. Normally, I wouldn't do this in the 8 o'clock hour because it's more of a last call topic. But I have a friend whose ex-husband, who has custody of their daughter, made a very interesting decision. Not really an adult topic, but more of a social topic. But
it's a very relevant social topic.
I think it's a very relevant social topic, something worth discussing. So she's going to call in at 8 o'clock, and the only reason she's calling at 8 is she's at work, and 8 is when she's at lunch.
That's fine.
So I want
No worries, brother. No worries.
Well, I'm letting Desi know as well. So so we'll have a kind of a weird.
And
don't let the board op know who's got to answer the phone call.
I'm letting you know right now. You got a half hour forewarning.
And listen,
I told you half hour ago. Did the orangutan scar rear its ugly head again?
You know what?
He's still recovering from his birthday
By the
party.
way, for you out singing last night, man, that was outstanding.
Piss off.
We have some clips of you singing that we're going to play later tonight.
No, you don't.
We got some clips of Trojo singing that we're going to play later tonight.
We do have Trojo.
I think we should. I think we need to get you and Sarah out to do like some karaoke, like some "I Got You, Babe" or some "Love Shack" or something.
No, I don't sing. You should have noticed that last night.
Yeah, obviously.
Listen, you know what though? I think if everything goes
By the
right,
way, what was the first song you guys did last night? "Sexy and I Know It."
Yeah,
it was you and Zach and Danger Boy.
Yep.
And it was almost like angry death metal.
That was Danger Boy. that was
like,
all
oh my
Danger Boy,
God,
wasn't it?
somebody's angry.
And Zach.
So. All right.
Is Danger Boy still in town? He was supposed to be bringing his cougar girlfriend in tonight.
No, he's not in town.
They left? He told me last night he'd be here
Yeah,
tonight.
no, they left this morning.
What a hoser. What a hoser. I've never had anybody at karaoke complain that we didn't have the German version of a song before. She pulled me aside last night and said, "No, you don't have the German version of Du Hast or 99 Luftballons."
There's something. Is there somebody tapping on the window over there? Hey, Des, you want to go open the door and look and see if somebody's out there?
It's like somebody's tapping on the window.
Yeah, it sounds like somebody's tapping on the window in here, in the studio.
This is how horror movies start. All right.
It's also how porn starts. No. So Kevin,
also in the 4 o'clock in the 4th hour, I got a piece of like microphone lint in my mouth. In the 4th hour, I will tell you that Sandra Bullock has moved down to number 3 in my list of the 5 hottest women in the world, and I'll tell you who's taking her place at number 2. All right. So let's talk really quick about this scenario, this situation with the nuclear option in the Senate.
Yes.
And I believe I have a really good handle on it, but I want you to briefly explain exactly what it means. And I want you to take all your political opinion out of it. Just give a really basic synopsis of what it normally is and what it means now that there's a nuclear option.
Actually, I'm going to do one better, and I'm going to play a clip that an audio clip. Look at that. There, I go to pull up the audio clip, and guess what? It's
It's not
not
there?
coming up on the
Yeah, it's not
computer.
there. We're having
That's
some
just
network
wonderful.
issues here at the studios. Let me explain what I think it is.
Yeah,
Can
go
I
ahead.
explain what I think
Yeah.
it is? So, in order to pass a bill in the Senate, you require 50 votes. Okay? 51 votes to pass a bill. Now, unless someone's going to attempt to filibuster, at which point you need 60 votes to get around the filibuster. Basically, 60 votes will overturn.
It's a supermajority.
Supermajority will keep you from having the filibuster.
Now, I want to make sure one thing really clear before you go any
Yes.
further. This country, as I've seen this argument put forth a lot by people, especially on Facebook, people who are, it's not that they're ignorant, it's just that they know so much that isn't so. And that they keep going back to, listen, this country, folks, is not a democracy.
It's a representative
It is a
republic.
representative republic. And why is the distinction important? The distinction is important because in a representative republic, the rights of the minorities are protected. Okay? That's why the idea of a supermajority is so important. To overturn the rights of a minority, you must have a supermajority. It prevents the 50% plus one from overturning the rights of the minority because they are just the majority. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
That is very important distinction to understand here. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so now the reason why this 10-vote difference comes into play is because right now Democrats have enough votes in the Senate to meet more than 50-vote plateau to pass whatever bills they want.
They have 52.
But they do not have enough to meet the supermajority, which means Republicans can and have, in some instances, been able to block passing or voting on any bills because of the filibuster. They've basically been able to say, we're not going to allow a vote because we can filibuster this. You don't have the 60 votes necessary for the supermajority, and we can essentially block a vote coming up. Now, this has reared its head several times during Obama's process of nominating.
Actually, it first reared its head while George Bush was president, and the Democrats were in control of the House. The Republicans actually considered for a very short period of time, hey, maybe we should get rid of the filibuster. Now, I invite you to do a quick Google or YouTube search under Democrats in 2005 against doing away with the filibuster, and you will find, in point of fact, your own President Barack Obama. You will find Nancy Pelosi and every other major Democrat arguing against.
You're going two steps ahead of me.
Against doing exactly what Kevin's about to tell you they were justified in doing. Go ahead.
Okay, so that's how the normal rules in the Senate work, and there's a whole bunch more caveats to it. It's very complicated. But essentially, 51 votes will pass. You need a supermajority if you want to get around the filibuster. The minority party can block any vote if they want to, unless you have 60 votes with the filibuster. And the Obama administration has been frustrated by the fact that they haven't been able to get their nominees approved because the Republicans have been able to filibuster in instances where they've wanted to because the Democrats don't have 60 votes. Now, just statements of fact, all political opinion aside, do you agree with that so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So, what Harry Reid and the Senate did this week is they essentially said, we're going to use the nuclear option. What the nuclear option essentially does is it gets rid of the 60-vote requirement, and it gets rid of the ability to filibuster. It basically says you're down to the 51-vote majority required to pass a bill. You get rid of the ability of the minority party to filibuster anything, and it forces a vote, essentially. Now, the Senate and the Obama administration has said they're only going to use this option when it comes to confirming judicial nominees. Now, as we all know in politics, that could splinter off into anything. It could splinter off into bills. It could splinter off. But as of right now, the word that the official party line has been they're only going to use it for judicial nominees.
And do you believe that?
I believe they're testing the water.
No. Do you believe that they're not going to use it for other things down the road?
I can't
Either
answer that
party.
question. Here's
Either
what,
party.
here's what I'll say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe the Democrats are testing the water. I think that they're playing it very safe and saying, let's use this on judicial nominees and let's see how the American people react. If the American people react in a way that makes it clear that they're pretty pissed off that we're doing this, we're going to put this thing to bed. We're not going to go any further with it. If the American people show that they support this and they think that it's time that we expand it further, then we will. I think it's I'm not saying that the nuclear option is smart, but the way in which they're doing this is smart because they're basically putting their toe in the water to see if any fish bite it. You know what I mean? They're going to do it a little bit and see how the American public reacts. It's very calculated. And so now, this whole idea with the filibuster is nothing new. The filibuster has been a part of American politics going all the way back. Now, Obama has been quick to point out that American presidents have been nominating nominees to fill appointments, such as judicial appointments. Remember that all court appointments are judicial appointments. All federal court appointments are appointed by the president and then approved through confirmation.
Right.
Now, we only hear about the U.S. Supreme Court, but there are district courts and federal courts and courts of appeals, and all of those are gone through the same process. We just never hear about them because nobody really gives a shit. Okay?
Well, okay, go ahead.
I mean, the average person doesn't really care enough. We don't hear about it a lot. But in the House and in the Senate, in the Senate for the confirmations, it really is important because depending on which side of the aisle you fall on, it really depends if your cause, whether that be taxes or Obamacare or abortion or whatever that is, those judges will decide which aisle that falls down. And so the nuclear option is huge because it takes away the minority's ability to stop a vote.
Impact the selection of judges.
Yeah. In this case, impact the selection of judges. And it could branch out into bills, laws, taxes, anything.
Yeah, absolutely anything. Listen, I understand. I'm not saying this is not an attack on you when I say this, but I think it's very naive of anybody to think that by doing this, Democrats or Republicans, who, by the way, at some point in time will be back in power,
sure,
will not use this in a perverted way. That's why the supermajority was there. And I'm going to read you, ladies and gentlemen. This is a statement that I am quoting from Rush Limbaugh from his show on Friday. Okay?
To all the liberals out there, sit down.
Understand this. Well, no, liberals are going 8-bat crazy over this because of the analogy that he put forth. Now, this is an analogy, and I'm quoting Rush Limbaugh. Okay? He said, every now and then, some lunatic in the group... I guess this caught up halfway through. Some lunatic in the group proposes to change the rule to allow women to be raped. But they were never able to get 6 votes for it. He's talking about in a group of 10 people with 4 women and 6 men.
Sure.
Okay? There were always the 4 women voting against it, and they always found 2 guys. Well, the guy that kept proposing that women be raped finally got tired of it, and he was in the majority. And he was the one that said, you know what? We're going to change the rule now. All we need is 5 guys to vote for it. And, well, you can't do that. Yes, we are. We're the majority. We're changing the rule. And then they vote. You understand the point?
Yeah, but okay.
Okay, the point is that if the majority can change the rules anytime they want, Kevin, then there are no rules. That's the reality of this situation. For example, the discussion, for lack of a better word, that I was trying to have with some of the people on your page, and why, again, I wasn't trying to detract from you or point out that I thought you were stupid.
Sure.
But it's that if you don't have a very firm grasp on how the Senate rules work, then to you, if you're on the left, you think, hey, this is a great idea. All right, get rid of the filibuster. Stop them dirty Republicans from this, and that. Okay? That's what you think because that's what you're told. That's what MSNBC and CNN puts out there. So you're going, hey, this sounds like a really good idea to me. It's you have to be smoking the Kool-Aid crack to think that this is a good idea. Because first of all, the Republicans will be back in control and they no longer will have to worry about the filibuster. Okay?
Right.
Which, by the way, they used over 30 times while George Bush was president. And you know what? Again, the Republicans themselves they discussed openly the idea of getting rid of the filibuster by using the nuclear option. And you know what they decided after talking about it openly amongst themselves? Wow, getting rid of the filibuster would be a really bad idea. Because even though we may not agree with the filibuster sometimes when it's being used against our candidates, and this is what Hillary Clinton said at the time, and Barack Obama, they said, well, if you don't like us filibustering your candidates, maybe you'd better put forth the more moderate candidate. That was their point. And listen, yes, are the GOP filibustering some candidate, some of this in the selection process out of sheer spite? Yes, they are. And as one of the people on your page pointed out, well, elections have consequences. I don't know how many times to tell people that. So if elections have consequences and that's the argument you want to hide behind, you don't get to sit there and say, well, your guys got elected to office, but I don't like what they're having to say. We're going to change the rules, darn it. Yeah, no, elections have consequences. So that's just such a ridiculous argument to put forth. And again, I was making the point in the argument that I was having with people on Facebook that if you don't understand why this is a bad idea, you honestly need to educate yourself more. You need to understand the process. It is imperative on you, if you're going to have an opinion about why the Dems getting rid of the filibuster was a good or a bad idea, and you're going to put forth a reasonable argument as to why it's a good idea, understand what the hell you're talking about.
Is the nuclear option a permanent change?
Unless they change it back. Unless they change it back. Have you ever known government to relinquish power on anything, on any level, at any time?
Oh, I would. Can you honestly believe that the Democrats, since the Republicans are about to take over control of the Senate, they wouldn't put it back just to make the Republicans have to put it back themselves?
Here's the problem. Next term? Here's the problem. They wouldn't have the votes to put it back. They had the votes to change the rules for what they did the first time. Mm-hmm. They don't have the votes to change it back.
Yeah.
Because you still need a supermajority to do certain things.
Right.
But you now only need a simple majority to get rid of the filibuster. Okay?
So you'd have to have a supermajority to put it back?
You'd have to have a supermajority to put it back into place.
But wouldn't Republicans agree to put it back just because of the fact that they're...
Are you kidding? No.
That they're ripping Democrats for having done
Hell
it?
no. The Republicans can sit back and hide behind the fact, we didn't do it, you did it. You don't got no more filibuster.
Yeah.
We didn't do it, you did it.
Let me give you the counter proposal. Okay,
go ahead.
Here's a counter proposal, which is we've seen for the last 4 years a government that is broken and unable to pass anything. And again, I totally get where you're coming from, but the counter proposal to this is make them vote, make them put their name to something, make them do their job.
But this isn't about passing bills, Kevin.
No, but I get that. But the question is, we've seen a whole lot of nothing coming out of this. So. Some people would argue, and I'll be honest, I ride this fence.
Okay.
Doesn't it make more sense to make these idiots, these dimwits, and I mean on both sides of the aisle, okay? I'm an equal opportunity annoyer, okay? Make them vote. Make them assign their name to these bills. These confirmations, I don't understand why the confirmation process is an issue at all.
Because the president can only appoint members to court to judges' positions with, quote unquote, the advice and consent of the Senate.
Right.
Okay? So that it's part of our constitutional law that the president, before he can appoint a judge to a court, has to have the advice and consent. In other words, the Senate has to say, okay, we like this person, put them on the court. Our entire system of government is based on one fundamental principle, and that is called a system of checks and balances. No matter who you are within the governmental system, you have checks and balances. Therefore, no one person can become too powerful.
But do you agree that okay, let me put it this way. Mm-hmm. There's a feeling within average Americans that there is a group of politicians, and I'm not saying left or right because I think it's probably on both sides.
Say it. It's the feeling that's out there amongst a lot of Americans is that the Tea Party members of the Republican caucus are forcing things to come to a standstill.
And intentionally not doing anything for the purpose of not doing anything.
That is the narrative that is being put out there by 75% of the media right now.
But would you agree though that would you agree that they're not doing things to help? For example,
well, I ask you to define
to get to a resolution. Listen, within the week before the federal government shut down, Ted Cruz filibusters for how many hours? What was it, 16, 14 hours or whatever? He just stood up there and rambled.
Right.
Rather than...
And that's a traditional filibuster, by the way.
And I get that. But it doesn't get us any closer to a resolution. It doesn't get us any closer to solving a problem.
Do you remember why he did that?
Yeah, because he didn't want any of the bills to pass.
No, it wasn't about any of the bills. He was trying to draw attention to the fact that Obamacare was going to be implemented, was about to kickstart, and that it was going to be so bad that we were going to have the problems that we currently now have. He was ultimately right. So, again, it's you can make that argument, but you cannot look at the minority, whoever it is. Right now, it happens to be Republicans. You can't look at that minority when it becomes Democrats and say, "Well, you're the minority. What you think and what you feel, and your rights and your concessions that you make and negotiating with you no longer Works for us. We're just going to ignore you now. Okay? What you've done is the Democrats have set the stage for totalitarianism. Because now a president can come in with a controlling party, be it Republican or Democrat, and say, you know what? Next president of the United States is going to be Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz pissed off all as hell at the Democrats. So what does he start doing? Republicans have complete control because Obamacare was such a failure. Okay? People are pissed off. They've swung vote the other way. All right?
Okay.
So the Republicans come in and they're like, well, fucking Democrats did it. Guess what? Payback time. You think we're going to be better off? Hell no. We're going to be 10 times worse off. I want you to think about something. Of the 100 senators that are there right now, that allowed them to get rid of the super majority and go down to 50% plus one, they had 52 Democrat senators. Of those 52, let me ask you this. How many of them are junior senators?
I have no idea.
Yeah, 75% of them.
Yeah.
75% of them weren't even around the last time this was discussed in 2005. They don't even know what it means, within the tradition. They don't know. There is such a lack of ability there by these elected officials to put this into perspective. You hear these junior senators coming and going, it's a great day for the Senate. We can now get things done. Oh, okay. What do you think's going to happen in a year and a half, there, buddy? Huh? When the Democrats lose that 52 majority. Because I guarantee you there won't be 52 to 48 next year during the election cycle.
You don't think so?
Not a chance in hell.
You think Democrats are going to get pounded?
I think
midterms.
I won't say that they're going to get pounded, but I can almost guarantee you that Republicans will take control of the Senate.
Really?
And I say that because Obamacare has been such a miserable failure. And here's why it's going to happen, Kevin. Because do you know what happens next October, 1 month before the elections happen? The Obamacare mandate on individual employers
goes into effect.
Okay? And the big breaking news about that this week was that according to the General Accounting Office, in the neighborhood of 100 million Americans are going to lose their insurance. Now, you saw what happened when 5 million Americans have just lost their insurance in the last 30 days. People are pissed. And the excuse was always bantied about, it's only 5 million Americans. It's 2%. It's a small amount. It's a minority of people. That ain't going to be the case next October. Okay? And how pissed do you think people are going to be? The president is already reeling because of the accusations that he lied. He's reeling.
Do you think Obamacare is even still in effect? It's still federal law. It's still
yes, it's the law of the land.
No,
it's not going anywhere.
You don't think it's going anywhere?
Nope.
You don't think it's going to get overturned the minute there's a Republican in office?
No, because it's the
Or
law of the
if
land. They're going to need
over the Senate?
They're going to need a super majority to do that. They'll never get that. Republicans will never. They may win the majority, but they're not going to get a super majority. Remember, for them to get the majority, it's 52 to 48 right now.
Right.
Okay? That's 4 positions. Okay? Only 3 need to change hands for the Republicans to have a majority.
Simple majority.
Yeah. So that's why I say I guarantee you there are 3 Democrats that will lose their seats to Republicans next year. I promise you that. So
yeah, you know what? I'll be honest with you. If you had told me a week ago that was going to happen, I'd have told you that you're an idiot. I mean, a week ago I was so sure that I would have told you you're an idiot. The latest poll numbers for Obama and for the Democrats are insanely low.
That's right.
However, the poll numbers for the Republicans are horribly low. In fact, they're lower than Democrats right now.
They are, but we know as Americans, history tells us that when a second-term president has a scandal-riddled White House and a party as the Democrats right now, the economy and all that, when you put and foreign policy and you lump that all into one, okay, I think it's really obvious. Okay, listen, George Bush wasn't a horrible president. His father wasn't a horrible president. Okay, but what happened in George Bush's second term?
9/11.
No, that was his first term. That was actually like 6 months into his first term, brother.
Sorry.
Iraq.
But correct.
Afghanistan.
Had all the problems with Iraq and Afghanistan. No weapons of mass destruction.
No, wasn't
all that stuff.
Afghanistan was first term, wasn't it?
Yes, but I'm talking about during his second term, it was clear there were no weapons of mass destruction.
Well, yeah.
We had to find ways to pull out. Anyway, and the economy started to tank. Okay? All of that stuff led to an overwhelming victory for the other party. That's what's going to happen. And listen, I'll tell you this right now. If Hillary Clinton becomes the Democratic nominee, the Democrats are ensuring that a Republican will get elected, because Hillary Clinton will never be able to overcome what difference does it make on Benghazi. She will never be able to overcome that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think as much as you're going to hate me saying this, and I told you before how I felt about Benghazi, I agree with you more than you think I do. But I think Benghazi, by the general election in 2016, is going to be a non-starter. It's just not going to matter.
Can we just be honest here? We just had a black president, or we have a black president. Nobody's going to vote a woman in next. Come on.
You'd be surprised, man.
No, it's not going to happen.
I'll just tell you, I think Benghazi is going to be a non-starter, because by that time you're going to be 4 years after the fact. You're going to be well outside of it.
It'll be a non-starter if somebody besides Hillary Clinton is the Democratic nominee. If it is Hillary,
I think that the American people they have a short memory.
And I will tell you this too: if it's Hillary Clinton and the Republican nominee happens to be a young, aggressive Tea Party male candidate, he'll kill her on it. He will kill her on it. They will run her through the muck on it.
I can't see a Tea Party guy winning the national election.
Well, I wouldn't put it too far off, because right now
I don't see
your front runners are looking like Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, and Paul Ryan, and
not
Chris
to mention
Christie. Chris Christie will fillet her.
Would you consider Chris Christie a Tea Party guy?
No, I consider him just a straight up. I consider him a fiscally conservative, socially moderate individual. He's a lot like me.
So Chris Christie,
I have a lot of respect for Chris Christie.
I think Chris Christie has a shot. Paul Ryan, I don't know about Paul Ryan. I don't think a Tea Party guy can win, because I think the Tea Party affiliation on a national level will be the death knell to your presidency, because in some pockets in this country it will carry a lot of weight, but in other parts of this country there are people who are just hate the idea of the Tea Party.
Well, they hate the idea of the Tea Party because there are sections of the liberal media that have been able to brand them.
Well, again, for right or wrong, for good or bad, based in fact or not, there's enough of a negative stigma that's going to keep a Tea Party guy from getting elected right now. I think you've got to have.
True.
I think you've got to have a guy like Christie, who's maybe more fiscally conservative, because that appeals to a lot of people, even the Reagan Democrats.
Well, remember that the entire Tea Party platform is fiscal conservative, leave the social issues out of it.
Yeah,
so,
but you can't be. I just don't think you can tie yourself to the Tea Party. Yeah, I think that'll kill people like Cruz and even Rubio, who I think Rubio would be a good candidate.
Cruz or Rubio come out, they're going to attract the vote, the Latino vote.
All right, news is next. We're back after this. Outlaw Radio Network.
I remembered each
Get outlawed.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Barbara Klein. President Obama called Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today to discuss Iran, hours after the U.S. and its allies reached an agreement to suspend parts of Tehran's nuclear program in exchange for partial sanctions relief. NPR's Ari Shapiro reports Israel has been deeply skeptical of the deal.
While the U.S. and Western allies were praising this agreement with Iran as a historic breakthrough, Israeli leaders called it a deal based on deceit. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said it's not a historic agreement, it's a historic mistake. On Sunday afternoon, President Obama called Netanyahu. According to a White House description of the call, Obama offered reassurances that, quote, the United States will remain firm in our commitment to Israel, which has good reason to be skeptical about Iran's intentions, end quote. Obama also told Netanyahu that he wants the U.S. to immediately begin consulting with Israel on the next phase of talks with Iran. That next phase is scheduled to last 6 months. Ari Shapiro, NPR News, Washington.
Syrian activists say at least 160 people have been killed in heavy clashes over the last 2 days in the suburbs of Damascus. Rebels are trying to break a month-long blockade by forces loyal to President Bashar al-Assad that's kept out food, water, and other supplies, an effort to crush the resistance. The strategy is helping government troops capture several rebel-held areas around the capital. A severe winter storm has brought floods, snow, and fatal driving conditions to the southwest. And as NPR's Nathan Rott reports, it's now slowly heading east.
In Arizona, New Mexico, California, and Texas, freezing rain and heavy snow caused hundreds of accidents, rollovers, and down power lines over the weekend. Patrick Burke is with the National Weather Service. He says that the severity of the storm should lessen as it moves east.
But there will still be a mixture of, again, all the precip types, freezing rain, sleet, and snow.
throughout kind of central and eastern parts of Texas and Oklahoma.
And that sleet and snow is expected to carry over into the southeastern U.S. early this week. That's bad news for travelers with the holidays fast approaching. Nathan Rott, NPR News.
More bad news for some travelers. Gas prices are starting to edge back up. Industry analyst Trilby Lundberg says the average price of a gallon of regular went up 3 cents nationwide over the past 2 weeks to $3.25 as the price of crude rebounds.
Crude oil prices of the past have caught up. Refiners can't cut anymore. They had to raise slightly. And we may see about another dime at the pump near term.
Prices fell an average of 37 cents a gallon in the last 9 weeks. Ballots are being counted in Honduras after voters went to the polls today to choose a new president. The election comes 4 years after a coup. Whoever wins will face the world's highest murder rate, rampant drug trafficking and corruption, and an economy on the brink of collapse. This is NPR News. The Indonesian island of Sumatra is on high alert after a series of eruptions in recent days. The Mount Sinabung volcano is spewing volcanic ash and gravel up to 16,000 feet and sending hot clouds of gas down its slope. Authorities are warning people to stay at least 3 miles away. International relief efforts continue in the Philippines more than 2 weeks after Typhoon Haiyan. Most of the hard-hit areas remain in ruins and without electricity. But as NPR's Frank Langfitt reports from Tacloban, some people are beginning to go back to work.
Rinaldo Espanilla headed out for his third day of fishing in a borrowed boat. Typhoon Haiyan had washed his out to sea. In the last couple of days, Espanilla made $70 selling his catch, a lot of money for a fisherman here.
Mga isda, crabs, ganon.
There's a lot of fish right now. If people hadn't died in the storm, the fisher folk would be so happy right now because there's so much fish.
Trucks continue to distribute food, water, and tents along the coast today. But like many, Espanilla points out that aid from the Philippine government and foreign non-governmental organizations will not last forever. And it's time for people to try to get back to making a living on their own. Frank Langfitt, NPR News, Tacloban.
In Switzerland, voters today rejected a proposal to cap executive pay. The proposal would have limited the earnings of companies' highest-paid managers to no more than 12 times the earnings of their lowest-paid workers. The proposal went down in today's referendum 66 to 35%, and all of the country's states voted against it. Swiss initiatives need a majority of both voters and states to pass. I'm Barbara Klein, NPR News in Washington.
Brothers Power Sports has been a locally owned family business in Bremerton since 1949. From new and pre-owned motorcycles, ATVs, scooters, boats, and watercraft, to parts and service and apparel. Brothers Power Sports is committed to being your source for all your motorsports needs. And they're a proud sponsor of the Habitat for Humanity of Kitsap County. Brothers Power Sports, 5205 First Street in Bremerton, and online at brotherspowersports.com. Stop in and feel the difference at Brothers Power Sports in Bremerton.
Make a difference in your community and volunteer at Kitsap Humane Society. We have opportunities for everyone and need help in all areas of the shelter. You can clean, feed, and help socialize animals, or answer phones, greet customers, and help run special events and fundraisers. KHS volunteers also lead programs including our foster program, canine training, and animal-assisted therapy. If you are interested in volunteering at Kitsap Humane Society, visit our website at kitsap-humane.org.
The Legacy Group in Silverdale is a well-respected independent mortgage banker, absolutely committed to helping Kitsap County families on their path to home ownership. As an employee-owned company, the Legacy Group has a strong stake in your success, and they want to be your lifetime partner in helping you develop a strong real estate portfolio. Call the Legacy Group in Silverdale today at 698-6440 and find out how they can help you get started on the road to home ownership. 698-6440 for the Legacy Group, a lending experience that's a little different and a lot smarter.
I'm Elaine Terso with Elaine Terso Photography. I've partnered with Ish Vintage Clothing, the Oxford Suites, and Parties by a Perfect Place to create our unique boudoir, glam, and pinup parties, which is perfect for a girls' night out or bachelorette parties. You choose your theme, get your hair and makeup done, play dress up for the evening, and then receive an accordion booklet of your photos, plus an 8x10 of your favorite photo. For parties or 7 or more, the hostess is free. For more information about our unique parties, visit my website, ElaineTersophotography.com.
Every time our country stands in the path of danger, an instinct seems to summon her finest first.
For he is truly his brother's keeper. Let us fight for a new world.
There's two kinds of people in this world when you boil it all down. You got your talkers and you got your doers. Most people are just talkers. So which one are you? Do you just talk about it? Or do you stand up and do something about it?
It's always the patriots who first hear the call. For everyone within the sound of my voice, from my cold, dead hand.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network. OutlawRadioNetwork.com.
All right, it's the Outlaw Radio Network, 8 minutes after 8 into hour number 2 of the show. He is St. Paul, the voice of reason.
And this man sitting to my left is my esteemed co-host, K-Dog, the Loose Cannon.
Thanks,
You know, one
buddy.
day you're going to have to actually explain to everybody where that nickname came from.
We'll get into that at some point. Strip is running the boards tonight. And good to see he survived last night's excursion.
Soiree. Hey, listen, so for those of you that are listening and tuning in and you're hearing this, you know, K-Dog and St. Paul go back and forth on this stuff, you need to understand something. We are actually very close friends, and we like to point to our friendship as something that allows us to look to politicians and say, if we're able to find middle common ground on issues that we can talk out, then we know that they should be able to as well. So it's not that we're setting the standard very high, because trust me, if you knew us, that bar is not high.
Well, and let's be honest about this as well. I mean, we are such good friends that if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't know his wife. He wouldn't have his 2 amazing sons. I mean, his life would be radically different if it wasn't for his liberal buddy. So clearly there's a...
Speaking of sons, you know, see my wife's post on Facebook the other day? You guys are going to love this.
About Truan biting the dog?
Yeah. So she points out, you know, you got your hands full with your dog when your comment is, Truan, stop biting the dog.
That's outstanding.
Well,
you just said you have your hands full with your dog. I think you meant hands full with your son.
Your son,
but,
yeah. Well, it's see, our dog, we have this beautiful, he's a 1.5-year-old border collie.
Yeah.
Smartest dog I've ever had. It just does not leave your side. Hasn't had to have any training. And he does, like, he'll go out and round up the horses and move them from one pasture to the next and do everything except open and close the gate. And no training, right? That's how smart this dog is. Well, he got hit by a car this last week here. And so it's been a rough week for him, but he's recovering. And so he's got the big old bell collar on his head, you know, so that he can't get to his stitches and everything. And so I got a little 2-year-old running around that just wants to play with him in roughhouse. So it's not good.
Wow. Yeah. It's a good age, though. Your kids are a good age.
Oh, it's a great age. I love people. Those are terrible twos. I love it. I think it's a great age.
Hey, at some point tonight, I want to talk about this, but have you followed the story that's coming out of Massachusetts about the 14-year-old that killed the teacher? Have you followed that at all?
No, I haven't.
It is just a tremendously horrifying story. There's a student, 14 years old, who killed his teacher. 24-year-old. They're charging him as an adult in the murder. It's a conversation we had briefly before, but I think we'll have it again at some point. Maybe not tonight, but I'm always curious how you can charge a 14-year-old as an adult.
Yeah, it all has to go into intent and
Yeah,
maturity
but
level,
I don't know,
and
man. I just
social status
makes
and all
me
that other
curious.
stuff. But anyway, so
curious.
So I know we've got a caller that's going to call in a minute.
Yes,
and it gets very difficult to get into a serious topic because we still do have 3 very serious topics to talk about this evening.
And coming up next hour, by the way, too, just a teaser. I'm going to give my my review, K-Dog's review of the Xbox One. We'll get into that next hour as well.
Okay, and to let you guys know, these are the 3 topics that we still have on for later. We're going to be talking about the situation that is unraveling between China and Japan, and the Chinese making claim to several Japanese islands. We're going to talk about
turn the music down.
What has happened?
Thank you.
Give her a break. She's learning.
I know.
Okay, you're doing great, Des.
Thank you, Des.
You're
doing outstanding. You're doing awesome. I just wanted you to know.
Don't let Kevin push you around, darling.
They're calling in, but there's no sound, so I'm trying to answer, but there's no sound at all.
You might want to double check with Strip. You might be something you need to do. It might be switched to the wrong computer. So double check with Strip. All right, so
I'm not getting any sound out of it. So anyway, so we're going to talk about what I believe is the abject humiliation just foisted upon the United States of America, our completely destroyed credibility on the international scene as a result of the Obama administration and our secretary.
Oh, don't get into this now.
No, I'm not going to.
Literally, because the caller just tried to call and
okay.
Yeah,
Caller.
I don't want to get into this now.
No, we're not going
It's
to.
a good. Oh,
Did you
you're
hear what I said?
highlighting our three
Yeah,
topics.
I'm just telling people what we're going to talk about there, brother.
I'm attempting to multitask and doing a
You're
horrible
too poor to
job of
pay
it. Go
attention
ahead.
over there.
Yes.
So anyway, again, we're going to talk about what has occurred now as a result of our capitulation and giving Iran everything that they want. Apparently, we've lost the war, and Iran didn't need to fire a shot. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, between football picks and stuff like that, we are going to discuss this sick, in my opinion, clearly racially motivated game where these black youths are running up behind people who are not black and hitting them and punching them as hard as they can. I think they call it the knockout game. And they're trying to knock people out with one punch. And again, I believe firmly that it is completely racially motivated. And again, thank you, Mr. President and Attorney General Eric Holder, for making sure those relations are worse now. And so those are the things. What? It's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it. It's my opinion.
I was listening to.
Is she gonna call back in?
Yeah, I told her to call back in. Do you have the number on Skype?
I don't know if this is her number or.
That's a good point. All right.
So
I sent a message saying to try again. So I'll text it again on my cell phone this time. I was watching the local news.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Cairo, might have been King 5, but they were talking about the knockout game, and the reporter actually said, the new game, blah 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 blah, and some people think it's gone too far. Gone too far? You think?
Hey guys.
Yeah. Yes.
I think I can hear her. I'm just gonna bring her on live real quick.
All right, let's just bring her on live. Bring our caller on live.
Never mind.
Never mind.
Yeah, she just hung up. I think.
Are you having an issue over there with the Skype line?
No, I think it could be my headset that I use over here. It may not be working correctly.
All right, if it rings through again, just patch it straight through.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna switch, but she hung up. So.
All right.
It's working now, like through our normal. If you guys are talking.
Yeah.
So I'll have to dink around with the other
all right
headset over here.
All right.
So but tell her to call right back, and I'll just bring her on live.
Good Lord, let me try it again.
I like the potentially fatal knockout game targeting strangers may be spreading. May be spreading? Have you seen social media?
Yeah, but can I ask a question? How big of a are we making a story out of something that's not really a story? I mean, is us talking about this? Is people talking about this? Is the media talking about this? Posting this on Facebook? Is this just making it worse? I mean, because now more kids are hearing about it, more people are talking about it. It's just going to grow even bigger. This is probably something 5 kids started in a borough in New York City, and now everybody all over the country is hearing about it. And it's gonna pick up and spread like wildfire.
Does it matter?
Kind of, doesn't it?
No, because people are not going to make a conscious decision to stop talking about it, right? So I understand what you're saying, and I think you might have a very valid point, but the point just doesn't matter because if we're not talking about it, other people are, and it's gonna be all over.
No,
Facebook
I don't mean
and
us.
YouTube.
I don't mean that we stop and everybody else continue.
I know.
I'm
just saying that. By the way, did you see what the Huskies did to Oregon State? If you're an Oregon
Yeah.
State fan, woohoo, go you!
No, listen, that was good. Did you notice that Oregon lost as well to Arizona?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Arizona clearly has a good team. I mean, I saw it when they beat the snot out of the Huskies. Worse than any of the other teams, worse than Oregon or Stanford. You know, Huskies were in those games, but they were not in that Arizona game. So Arizona, they're a powerhouse team, man, and they've completely flown under the radar all season. So congrats to them. You know, they did an excellent
I'm getting
job.
a text from that.
I went out last night. It was Strip's birthday, and when I left the house, it was the third quarter, and it was 35-0. And I had the game on record. I had on my DVR, and I get home, and I'm like, this morning I got up. I'm like, I'm going to finish watching the game. Oh, the scoring was not done. Oh my Lanta. I mean, good 69 to 27, and the 27 points scored by the Ducks. There was like one legitimate drive in there, and the rest was in garbage time against the Huskies' third and fourth string defense. Man, it was just.
Did you hear about the game that ended early?
Yeah, actually, that was a class move. I thought
like an 80 to it was like 80.
Yeah, it was Old Dominion
guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got our caller. Go. Let's bring our caller.
We have our caller on. Are you there?
Yes.
There she is. So here's what's going on: is do you want to use your real first name on the air, or should we give you a cool nom de plume?
I already have a cool name.
I know you do, but I don't know if you wanted to use it on the air or not, or do we want to give you a fake name? Do you want to hide your identity, or does it matter?
No, you can go ahead and use it.
Okay, that's good, because I actually asked Kevin, I was like, is that her stage name? Was she a stripper?
Lakey joins us on the air and calling us from Snohomish County. Hello, Lakey.
Hi, Lakey. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
So the deal is the headset that's used in the other room is broken. So when you called in, he couldn't hear you, which is why there was an issue or something.
Gotcha.
But anyway, so speaking of issues, let's get to your issue.
Yeah, let's get to your issue. So you told me about this earlier, so I want you to set this up. Explain exactly what you told me about before.
About my ex-husband being retarded.
Yes, yeah.
You can't use that word. Only we can use that word.
That's right. No, you
Dang
can't.
it.
We don't have political correctness.
No,
on the
because
show.
we're
Go ahead.
guys. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So let me set this up. My oldest daughter, she'll be 15 on Thanksgiving. She's a wonderful kid, basketball star, straight A student. She's even won awards like to go to the White House for academics and leadership.
Yeah,
My
so did Barack
ex-husband
Obama.
kicked her out of the house.
Uh-huh.
My ex-husband kicked her out of the house today because he told him that she's gay.
So she's figured out that she's a lesbian, and your ex-husband just, that's it, out of the blue, no other reason whatsoever, get out of the house? That's how that went down? Is he a homophobe? Is that what it is? He's just hates gay people?
He is a homophobe. He was raised very religious.
Uh-huh.
I've never been a very good member of his religion, so it's a little double standard. Plus, my oldest boy, he'll be 13 on Monday. He's gone into some trouble in school, fighting, and he even got caught smoking pot at school a couple weeks ago. So he didn't get kicked out. He got his phone taken away, but yeah, nothing really bad happened to him.
So your son fights at school, smokes pot at school. He gets his phone taken away. Your daughter, good grades in school, from what you're saying, is recognized for being a good leader, good scholar, blah, blah, blah. She decides that she may be interested in the same gender, and he kicks her out. Which, by the way, it's very possible this is a phase that she grows out of anyway all by herself, right? I mean, she's 14, almost 15.
Absolutely.
So there's no guarantee that 2 months from now she feels the exact same way anyway, right?
Correct.
I mean, not that if she was, it's bad, but I mean, but this, she's young. She could grow out of this. This could just be a normal part of growing up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of confusion when you're growing up.
Mm-hmm.
One day you want to be a ballerina, the next day you want to be a doctor, the next day you want to join a rock band. You're still going through so many changes. You don't know for sure how your life is going to end up when you're that age.
That's right.
Can we call him? I would love to call him.
He's in a different time zone.
I don't care because we have this magical thing called a phone that reaches across time zones. So can we call him?
Yeah, but the kids are in bed right now.
It's okay. So Lakey, so listen, obviously how did you find this out? Did your daughter call you?
No, my ex-husband called me up, and we only talk a couple times a month because he's not my favorite person in the world, but hey, we bred together, so got to keep it relatable.
Yeah, right. Now what did you say to him when he told you this?
Hold on, before you even say that, how did he explain it to you? Did he just come right out and say, "Our daughter said she's a lesbian, so I'm kicking her ass out," or how did he explain it to you?
So he's blowing at my phone. It's like, okay, maybe one of the kids are dead. So I'm at work. I leave work and I go call him up, and he's like, "Have you talked to our daughter?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." He's all, "So do you know what's going on?" I'm like, no. Is there something that I should know outside of normal? Has she had basketball tryouts? Anything else? He's all, "Well, she's decided that she's a lesbian now." I'm like, okay. It kind of came out of left field because she's had boyfriends and, just normal junior high boyfriends where you're boyfriend, girlfriend for a week and then it's over. So then he's telling me, he's like, "I'm just disgusted. I can't even look at her." I told her to pack up her stuff and go. And I'm like, "Hold on a second. You're kicking her out because she's come out to you. She's confided in you and tried to tell you how she feels about herself." He's like, "Yeah, I don't agree with that." And he's always been kind of homophobic. I mean, our oldest boy, when he was younger, was really into riding horses and wanted to do like barrel racing and stuff. He's like, no, that's for, no son of mine's going to do that. He won't let him do gymnastics because of the negative male connotation that it carries.
Sure. Okay. Listen, Lakey, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but clearly you have poor judgment in men. This,
Wow.
Right. Well, I say that jokingly, in all honesty, but listen, clearly this guy's got an issue, and a lot of it probably stems from his own, insecurities. Because I know plenty of religious people who are very religious people who are okay with people being gay, and I know a few religious people who the thought of people being gay detests them, and they still think that if you send somebody who's gay to church that you can cure them of it.
Absolutely.
And listen, I think that I won't lie. I have some friends that are gay, and I absolutely love them to death. Not in that way.
I didn't say anything. Don't look at me like that. I didn't say anything.
I'm just making the point that
I'm the guy on the show that's supportive of gay and lesbian.
But I
rights.
owned a strip club, and I also saw women come to work for me who were straight as an arrow, boyfriends and everything else. And within months, they were playing ball for the other team. They had all of a sudden figured out, I must be a lesbian. I enjoy this, right? But then I saw them switch. You know what I mean? So that, like you said about your daughter, there's a lot of back and forth on the issue, especially for young people. I get all that. I think the only thing that bears it out is time. In my opinion,
right.
It's just you give them their time, you let them do whatever they're going to do, and you let them figure it out. Because you know what? Here's the truth: as a parent, you can't figure it out for them. So
and just for further just information on the story, your ex and the kids, they live in a different state. So,
yes, they do.
And as you've told me, you've given her the option if she's now. Yeah, basically on her end, it's to either go live with the grandparents who are still in the same area, same school district, that type of thing.
Doesn't sound to me like the grandparents are going to be any more inviting if their son just kicked her out for being gay.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask, or to come live with you up here. Is she going to be in a better situation with the grandparents than she would be living with Captain Dipwad?
So here's the thing with my ex's parents. They are phenomenal. Like, when I go visit my kids, I actually stay with my ex-in-laws. We have a really, really good relationship.
You do realize they raised him, right? Just saying.
And know what? When we were dating, his mom even told me, I wish you would have fallen in love with my other son because this one is a bad one.
Oh, wow. That's a hell of an indictment.
I know. I'm
but
like,
you said, hold on.
Do you know what's funny?
Hold on, Kevin. Lakey, you said he was a product of his environment growing up. So I mean, doesn't
he had fantastic parents. I mean, his parents got divorced, but a lot of people's parents get divorced. I'm divorced. You have your own free agency. You decide who you're going to be, and he decided to be a dork.
You're being. Listen, okay, you're being kind. You're being nice. I'll say it. The word asshole, comes to mind, and also, quite frankly, the bad parent comes to mind. Again, if you're willing to throw your daughter out on the street because you may not agree with something like that, your parenting card should pretty much be revoked because that makes you one hell of an irresponsible parent. Now, let me ask you this:
agree.
What kind of plans are you making for her to come home, or if any, are you? What kind of choice is she making now?
Well, I told her, like, you're welcome up here. She's got a lot of people up here that love her and care for her and will support her no matter what she decides.
Mm-hmm.
And she's torn right now because she is in basketball. She's on 4 different teams right now, and she just had her tryouts for school. She's been in the same school district since she was in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
So it's leaving everything that she knows to come to Washington and not feel that, she's oppressed or there's something wrong with her.
I understand that.
And
Lakey, can I tell you?
Yeah,
I understand where you're going with this, and I think that's very understandable. But I'm going to make this statement / comment to you. You're the parent here. And I'm not saying that to detract from her decision-making ability, but I think that her decision-making, she's in a environment that right now I would not consider a healthy environment for a young lady at her age going through what she's going through. Yes, she may want to stay in the school district, but how healthy is it going to be for her remaining there in that environment, knowing that her dad is somewhere around in that environment and she's with her dad's parents? I mean, when you have a child that goes, let's be honest, this is going to be traumatic for her, right? Would you agree, Lakey?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, definitely.
So when you have a child that goes through a traumatic experience, wouldn't you think that it's best to remove that child from the situation completely and give them a fresh perspective, a fresh start, even if it's only temporary?
Yes, I do. But here's the other part of it. Her dad told her that if she came up to Washington with me, she was never welcome back there. And I told her, I'm like, that is not true. He's just talking out of anger right now, and he's saying things that he doesn't mean.
Well, does it really matter?
So
hold on. Does it really matter? That I mean, again, he just kicked her out. What kind of a game is it to say if you go to live with your mom, you're never welcome back here? Really? Well, piss off.
He used to pull that stuff with me when before we separated, and it's like, oh well, if you leave, you're never welcome back.
Yeah, like an
asshole. That was not the case.
Here's
I know how he is.
Good. Here's the larger issue for me, and I won't go as far as Paul, which is if her support structure and her friends and the things that she loves, which is basketball and all of that, is where she's at. I don't necessarily think that she has to come to Washington with you if you're comfortable with her being down there. But the one thing I will say is that whatever happens at this point, I think that you have to get him out of that parental right role, because if he has indeed kicked her out of the house and she's going to go under somebody's watch, he's got to be out of that role, because if he's that spiteful, vindictive, dickheaded-ish to kick his 14, almost 15-year-old daughter out because of a phase that she may be in, or it could be a lifestyle choice, who knows, but she's still a 14-year-old girl who I've heard worse stories of girls getting kicked out for that, going on the streets and becoming victims of human trafficking. I mean, that's what he runs the risk of.
Well, that gets exactly to my point,
and
Kevin.
I'm just talking about his role as a parent.
No, Kevin, you're getting exactly to my point.
No, I know. And all I'm saying is that whether she comes to be with you or she stays with the grandparents, that severing of him as that custodial parent has to be addressed. Because right now, if he decides he's pissed off, he can call and have her reported as a runaway, even though he kicked her out. And then, you know what I mean? That would be what I'd be concerned about. It's just, it's a mess.
Actually,
and he's a jerk.
Actually, it's a step further. Actually, what he's done is he's committed a crime. That's child endangerment. That's child neglect. She's a minor. Okay, if you're a parent and you kick your child out of the house, that's a big no-no. In point of fact, somebody should be, honestly, Lakey, you should be calling CPS in whatever state that he lives in. Because you cannot claim the right of being a parent and continue to perform the role of a parent if you are willing to, the first time you hit rocky waters on something like this, say, okay, pack your shit and get out. That's not okay. It's not even remotely okay. And I'm not saying this to be critical of you, dear, but you really need to take a very proactive role. You need to get your daughter. You need to get her to come up here. She needs to be out of that environment, maybe not permanently, but at least temporarily. It's not going to do
right. Absolutely.
You're not going to do.
And that's what I told her. I'm like, you can come up here if it's for a day, a week, a month, a year. I don't care. Whatever you need.
No.
Or if you want to stay here permanently.
No.
That's
You're
what
giving.
I'm here for.
You're giving what you just said to me is you're giving the 15-year-old the choice. You're the parent here. Don't give her the choice. Just tell her, say, okay, we're going to make arrangements. We're going to have you come up here. And what you just said is completely accurate. It could be for a week, a month, or whatever, as long as it needs to, okay? But you need to take the bull by the horns, and you need to be proactive here as the strong, intelligent parent, and bring your daughter home. Bring your daughter home, okay? Is that a good piece of advice? Can you take that and do something?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's unfortunate that somebody's ignorance is damaging somebody so much.
It is. And I'm a conservative guy, and I have a lot of conservative friends that are just like your husband, and it just annoys the crap out of me. And I try to talk to them about it. Yeah, your ex-husband? Yeah. And so I listen, all conservatives aren't like that, okay? A lot of us believe that it is what it is. And
I will say this, though, Lakey, and again, this is really a fourth-hour comment, but I'm going to make it anyway. I guarantee if when you guys were married, you'd have brought another woman home, he'd have been all for that.
Oh, well, he did that on his own.
I think you're missing the point.
Yeah. Listen, hey.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah. I do know what you're saying. And you're right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he's trying to bring religion into it, and that's not what religion, that's not what they teach, and it's like I said, it's very unfortunate.
It is, and I'm sorry you're going through it.
Hey, listen, before you go back to work, can I say two things?
Sure.
One, I adore you. You're a phenomenal person, and I'm sorry you guys are going through this. And secondly, get your ass down to Bremerton so we can go to karaoke, okay?
You need to do karaoke on Tuesday or Wednesdays. Those are my days off.
We'll have to make that. I have a proposition for you on that. We'll talk about that off air.
Great, Kevin with a
All right,
proposition
or
for a
come
woman.
to Snohomish County.
My ex lived in Snohomish County. If I go up there, my head will explode. My head will explode. Love you, dear.
I promise. I'll take care of you.
All right,
You guys have a good night.
All right, goodbye. There goes Lakey. All right,
Bye-bye.
We need to
take
go to
a break.
now.
Yeah, and then I want to read. This was just shared on my Facebook page.
Yeah, I read that earlier and researched it and vetted it, but I'm going to let you read it before
Is
I
it
tell you the reality.
is it true or is it total BS? Because if it's BS, I don't want to waste time on it. We have other stuff to talk about.
No, because actually, I think that's a 4th hour topic.
You think that's a 4th hour topic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, we have a lot of stuff for the 4th hour.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess we're going late tonight.
Nope.
Outstanding.
Outstanding, man. Outstanding.
Hey, good job. Nice job putting that in the 4th hour, buddy.
Outlaw Radio Network.
Save all the voice of reason.
K-Dog the
Loose cannon. Back
Edge
after
Media
this.
Source.
Hey! We still had time left.
Damn
Outlaw
it.
Radio Network on edgemediasource.com. Now you can go to Bump.
Okay, that's done.
Get outlawed.
Brothers Power Sports has been a locally owned family business in Bremerton since 1949. From new and pre-owned motorcycles, ATVs, scooters, boats, and watercraft to parts and service and apparel. Brothers Power Sports is committed to being your source for all your motorsports needs, and they're a proud sponsor of the Habitat for Humanity of Kitsap County. Brothers Power Sports, 5205 1st Street in Bremerton, and online at brotherspowersports.com. Stop in and feel the difference at Brothers Power Sports in Bremerton.
As Kitsap County's largest maintenance provider, Team Innovative in Paulsbo provides commercial and residential maintenance to hundreds of millions of dollars of local real estate. With services including parking lot maintenance and street cleaning to landscape and design, Team Innovative is committed to using a green approach and following the strong environmental conscience. Team Innovative Services, 697-6858, or visit them online at getinnovative.net. Team Innovative Services, get serious, get innovative.
Make a difference in your community and volunteer at Kitsap Humane Society. We have opportunities for everyone and need help in all areas of the shelter. You can clean, feed, and help socialize animals, or answer phones, greet customers, and help run special events and fundraisers. KHS volunteers also lead programs including our foster program, canine training, and animal-assisted therapy. If you are interested in volunteering at Kitsap Humane Society, visit our website at kitsap-humane.org.
The Legacy Group in Silverdale is a well-respected independent mortgage banker, absolutely committed to helping Kitsap County families on their path to home ownership. As an employee-owned company, the Legacy Group has a strong stake in your success, and they want to be your lifetime partner in helping you develop a strong real estate portfolio. Call the Legacy Group in Silverdale today at 698-6440 and find out how they can help you get started on the road to home ownership. 698-6440 for the Legacy Group, a lending experience that's a little different and a lot smarter.
I'm Elaine Terso with Elaine Terso Photography. I've partnered with Ish Vintage Clothing, the Oxford Suites, and Parties by a Perfect Place to create our unique boudoir, glam, and pinup parties, which is perfect for a girls' night out or bachelorette parties. You choose your theme, get your hair and makeup done, play dress up for the evening, and then receive an accordion booklet of your photos, plus an 8x10 of your favorite photo. For parties or 7 or more, the hostess is free. For more information about our unique parties, visit my website, ElaineTersophotography.com.
Every time our country stands in the path of danger, an instinct seems to summon her finest first.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network. OutlawRadioNetwork.com.
It's always the patriots who first hear the call. For everyone within the sound of my voice, from my cold, dead hand,
All right, it's the Outlaw Radio Network. My hope is by next week's show, this computer will be repaired.
Now,
because I can't surf anything on this computer. I
Speaking
can't
of-
look at porn. I can't download illegally pirated movies.
Kevin, speaking of next week's show,
yes.
Prior to the show on Sunday night, we have an event coming up Saturday night.
Yes,
would
to
you
benefit
please
the food
tell
banks.
Would you please tell our listeners about the event coming up on Saturday night?
Suquamish Championship Wrestling will be holding their big event up at the. I can't even bring up the location because I can't navigate on this computer. But it's. Stay tuned to our Facebook page. We'll give you some more information as we get.
Kevin and I will be entering the squared circle.
That's right, for the first time, but not the last.
That's right, because Kevin has been consistently picking fights, him and his liberal posse of friends. You know what? You should have Don Manning in your corner.
Can I say one thing that bugs the hell out of me?
What's that?
Why is it the Republicans want to call liberals libtards? Why is that? Why is that acceptable?
Why do you call Tea Party people teabaggers?
I don't call them teabaggers.
Freaking hilarious.
I don't call you teabaggers
because it's liberal combined with retarded.
Hey, do you guys ever watch that Jew that's on TV on HBO?
The Jew?
Yeah,
Bill Maher?
Yeah.
I don't have HBO.
Isn't
but
it
I
great?
can't
He said
stand Bill
Jew
Maher.
when I knew it was Bill Maher.
Well, he's the only Jew that's on HBO.
I every once in a while, in other words, once a year, Bill Maher says something that I actually can identify with and make sense.
No, seriously. If you actually get a chance, he actually gets people on his show from both sides.
He does,
and it's actually very. He's got his own opinions, but
he does.
I'll tell you what, man. I sit down and watch it every once in a while when there's nothing else on, because it's good filler. But I mean, if you're just looking for something to kick around rocks, and
what does that have to do with?
I don't know.
Conservatives.
You guys were throwing jabs at each other or something.
Oh,
some
okay.
shit,
You were just
So anyway,
yeah.
coming up Saturday up in Suquamish at the event center. And again, stay tuned to our Facebook page. I'll post more information tomorrow when I can actually navigate around and get the information posted because I can't do it today because this computer is a piece of horse crap. But I will post on there. We will have 2 different events as part of the big event.
This Saturday. We will have an arm wrestling competition,
which I will dominate you on.
Good.
The
You
winner.
could listen. You have not heard me yet say I'm going to beat you at any of this stuff. And we're going to have a chop competition.
So the winner of the arm wrestling contest gets to pick the tag team partner for the big tag match on December 14th.
Is that it? I thought the winner of the chop competition gets to pick.
No, the winner of the chop competition gets to win some unnamed bragging rights. We haven't set
Hey,
up
St.
yet.
Paul, how you doing? By the way,
Me?
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm gonna go back to work tomorrow. You know.
You for sure gonna go back to work tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be on. Listen. I was at work. I broke my rib, and
piece of advice: you might want to get some insurance for this fight. Just maybe.
We are going to be raising
He has
money.
a
and
broke rib
food.
now. He's going to have 12 broke ribs when I'm done with him.
It could be the case.
If
Listen,
K-Dog
thanks-
sits on you, you might be done.
First of all, can I just say this? And I'm going to say this out loud. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
For what?
Well, because you're paying for my health care insurance. So
You're
I no matter what happens, I'm covered, dude. We're cool. We're cool. And
No,
again,
you're not covered yet.
I'm covered as of the 1st. As of the 1st of the year, so.
I'm just glad we do this radio show
thank
in
you.
Strip's house
Thank
and not
you
a
to
real
you
radio
and
station.
everybody else who's paying for my health insurance.
I'm just glad we did this show in Strip's house and not a real radio station because a real radio station will not allow me to bring these guns in the building. Okay? Thank you. All right.
That's a what?
What?
That's a gun?
These are guns, man.
That's like a mortar.
These are guns.
That's a mortar.
These are guns.
Son, that's a mortar.
These are cannons.
I've got rifled cannons.
Yeah?
Yeah, you got kind of more like a mortar.
Those are like, yeah. All right.
Anyway.
And then the big event's going to be on December 14th, the big tag team match.
It'll be a tag team match, brother.
It'll be me and a partner to be determined on this Saturday.
I know who you're going to pick anyway.
He's undefeated,
You're going
man.
to pick that 6'8" dude, aren't you?
Of course I am.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what I
gonna
thought.
let him squash you.
That's what I figured.
I just hope they let me on the mic. Let me,
Yeah, well, we're going to need to talk to them about that because we've got some things that we could definitely do for them.
Yeah.
So, and if you're listening, Von Hess or Prime or Granite, by the way, I'm going to take that show that they were here and they were on, and I'm going to make a total promo out of me making them stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. Oh, it was great. It was great stuff.
Right.
Anyway, so let's get back to our stories here. We have a few minutes here. Have you heard about what happened this weekend with the United States making a deal with Iran, Kevin?
I have read up on that. I want you to give us a rundown. I will tell you, though, that I know from the research that I've done that everybody within our allies, our ally structure, with as far as the EU and all of that, everybody seems pretty happy with the exception of Israel.
Huh? No.
The EU,
no, they're not
happy. No,
the United Kingdom is not happy. France is not happy about this. All of the Middle East right now is definitely Saudi Arabia.
Whoa! Hold on. What is it? What did they do? What
I'm
happened?
about to get to that. Hold on.
I know.
Saudi Arabia is letting Israel scout locations in Saudi Arabia to launch airstrikes against Iran from. Saudi Arabia is letting Israel scout locations. You see, people are not happy about this. Listen.
Well, okay, go ahead. I'll read you what I found after you tell me what you got.
I got to pull my story back up here. I got it right here.
Oh, come on. Should have had this ready.
I had it ready.
It's really hard to pull anything up when the computers don't run.
I've got it right here. Even when the stuff's pulled up, it still takes time to... Jerusalem, Israel on Sunday lashed out at the Geneva nuclear deal brokered by world powers as being heavily stacked in Iran's favor, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calling it a historic mistake. I invite everybody listening to go back and research Chamberlain, British Prime Minister, and negotiations with Adolf Hitler. Following a months-long diplomatic campaign warning of the dangers of easing economic sanctions on Iran in exchange for steps to curb its contested nuclear program, senior cabinet ministers chimed in, with one saying Israel reserved the right to strike Iran on its own. And listen, can you blame them? No, you can't. Of course not.
No, they're on Israel's doorstep.
Netanyahu told his cabinet on Sunday that what was achieved yesterday in Geneva is not a historic agreement, but rather a historic mistake. Again, Chamberlain. Speaking later at a ceremony in Jerusalem, he said that the more details emerged on the deal, the more it becomes clear how bad the deal is for Israel, the region, and the world. Iran, here's the kicker, boys and girls. Are you ready for this one?
Go ahead.
Now remember, almost every single IED that has exploded in Iraq in the last 10 years was manufactured in Iran. Iran has been carrying out a proxy war against the United States for years in Iraq, okay? Iran gets billions of dollars in sanction relief without paying anything. Iran gets written permission to breach UN Security Council resolutions. The agreement rescues Iran from a significant part of the pressure it was under, while giving it international legitimacy to continue its nuclear program. That is a bad deal for Israel. Iran got literally everything they wanted in this deal. Everything. In fact, the only premise for all of this was that Iran had to promise not to create a nuclear bomb. Can I just point out North Korea to you, ladies and gentlemen? Okay? You don't have any clue whatsoever what the Iranians are doing underground and behind closed doors. None. In fact, the only hint you will have that Iran did not adhere to this agreement is when seismic monitors go off and tell us that Iran detonated an underground nuke in a test. Right. That's when you'll know they didn't follow the rules. They didn't follow the agreement. Somebody please tell me, please, in God's name, tell me how this is a good thing and a good deal. Can you tell me, Kevin, please? Because right now, I feel like this damn idiot we have in the White House and this idiot, what is his name anyway?
John Kerry?
Oh, yeah, thanks. I couldn't remember. We murdered troops that are reminiscent of Genghis Khan. Mr. coming back from the Vietnam War and doing nothing but slandering our troops overseas. I'm sorry. There's only a couple people that and I don't hate the president, by the way. I just dislike his policy things. I hate fucking John Kerry, dude. The man is a piece of garbage. He's just a piece of shit. He slandered U.S. troops for years and years and years. And now he's the son of a bitch going around the world, shaking hands with our enemies, apparently. It's sickening. It's disgusting. Now, please tell me how this is a good idea.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How would you have done the deal differently?
I would have done no deal. No deal. We got no business dealing with the country of Iran in this manner. The same country of Iran who told our allies, Israel, that they were going to eliminate them off the face of the earth, that they had no human right to exist.
Okay, but hold on.
There's a hold on to that?
Yeah, take that off the table for a second. Take that off the table for a second. Take the option of not negotiating with Iran off the table.
It's not about not negotiating.
If you establish the fact that this administration wanted to put a plan in place that took the nuclear capabilities of Iran off the table, how would you format that? If you're going to format that in an acceptable way, if you're the United States and you're going to negotiate with Iran in a way that takes Iran's nuclear program off the table, how would you format a deal in a way that would be acceptable to you? Because I don't agree with the idea that you're going to say, well, we're not going to negotiate with Iran. We're not going to work a deal with Iran, because leaving them alone doesn't do anything besides allow them to continue to make a bomb that we don't want them to make in the first place.
You're striking at the heart of what's wrong with this administration and their foreign policy in the first place.
Okay.
Is that they have left Iran alone. And Iran has done what? Continued to develop their nuclear program.
Right.
How is that a good thing either? It wasn't. It isn't, and it can't be. Again, you have one country, Iran, who says another country, their neighbor, Israel, does not have the right to exist. How is allowing them to continue their research in nuclear development a good thing?
No, I'm not saying that it is. I'm not saying this is a good deal.
I'm asking you to actually, you support the president. I'm asking you to justify this position to me. Justify John Kerry going to Geneva, meeting with the Iranians, and letting them walk out the door going, "Yay, our team! We got it all! We won! Yay!" They look like Borat, man.
But let me say this.
I'm sorry, the dictator.
I'm not saying in any way that this is a good deal or not.
Then let's be realistic.
I'm still
about
researching because I don't know enough about it to formulate that. What I'm asking you though is, if you accept that Obama wanted to get a plan in place, wanted to get something accomplished in regards to Iran, because nothing's been accomplished with Iran, going back to the Bush administration, the first term of Obama's administration, and then up through now, there's been nothing solid accomplished with Iran that did anything to stunt the growth of their nuclear program. So if you're Obama and your plan is to get a plan in place with Iran, what kind of a plan would you have accepted? Now, since
are you honestly asking?
Yeah, honestly
that question?
asking. Since this isn't it.
This isn't it.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. What would have been it? Would it have been no nuclear research, no nuclear nothing? You get rid of everything nuclear. You allow UN weapons inspectors to come in. That's it, and we give you
everything that you have nuclear gets destroyed right now. Mm-hmm. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You want nuclear power? We'll bring in nuclear experts and construction teams from around the world. They'll build your nuclear power plants to provide you power. Then they will leave, and that's all you're getting. You want nuclear power, that's how you get nuclear power. Listen, that country is too goddamn unstable. They're right next to Pakistan, where the Khan network, the A.H. Khan network, developed plans for nuclear bombs. To one of the countries, Iran. Okay? Iran has the plans. They know how to build the bomb. They're enriching uranium so that they can use it to build a bomb. Everybody knows it. It's not a secret. And Iran, quite frankly, hasn't done a very good job of denying it. So this is like, Kevin, you live between, you have one neighbor that lives on one side and another neighbor that lives in the other side, and you're right in the middle. The neighbor on the right side of you says the neighbor on the left side of you doesn't have the right to exist.
No, hold on.
And the neighbor, and the neighbor on the left side has guns to kill the neighbor on your right side, and the neighbor on the right side, vice versa. They have the guns to kill each other. Okay, the neighbor on the right side, by the way, the guy who's saying the other one doesn't have the right to exist, is mentally unstable.
Right.
Do you think going into his house and saying, "Hey, I'm going to let you keep your guns, son, but you just have to promise me you'll never use them"? No. How is that okay?
And I'm not saying that this makes any sense. I'm not saying that the plan. I'm in your boat. I would prefer that the Iranians not have any level of nuclear research capabilities at all. But let's also be honest and say that they've committed to us how many times in the past?
Who's told us what?
The Iranians have committed either to us or the UN. How many times in the past have they shut down their nuclear programs, and then they've just fucked it off?
Yeah, dozens.
And not done it.
So how is this any different?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is I don't know,
because what you've done is you've eliminated the sanctions, the things that were causing them difficulties internally. Do you know what was causing the riots on the streets of Iran? The sanctions.
Right.
The people of Iran were looking to their ayatollahs and looking to their leadership, saying, "We can't get the things necessary for us to be a country that's evolving." Okay, they couldn't get the basic necessities because of the sanctions. That was causing the populace of Iran to put pressure on the government, which is part of what caused a more moderate leader to come into power. You don't just suddenly say, "Hey, cool, you elected a moderate. We're going to give you everything back now."
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
The IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency.
Yep.
Would you think that they would be a fair mouthpiece in regard to this agreement? No, and why?
Because they don't have credibility on the international scene.
You don't believe so? Just
No.
as part of the UN?
They don't have any credibility because people can hide stuff from them. And I don't mean that. I'm not.
But I
saying
mean,
that
if they were cool or critical of the deal, would that carry any weight with you? If they
No.
supported it or they were against it?
No, because they're not going to issue an opinion one way or another. They're
They
a
did.
neutral body. Their job is to simply go in and verify.
But they did issue an opinion.
What
Here's
was their
what they
opinion?
said. The IAEA welcomes the agreement reached in Geneva, which is another important step forward following the agreement reached between the agency and Iran on 11 November in Tehran. According to Yukara Amano, Director General of the UN Nuclear Watchdog, which he said in a statement. With the agreement of the IAEA's Board of Governors, the agency will be ready to fulfill its role in verifying the implementation of
Hey, do you know who the
nuclear
last
measures.
leader, who the last guy that was in charge of the IAEA was?
I have no idea.
It was a guy who just got ousted as the president of Egypt, Hamid Morsi.
Oh, that is true. I did
Mr.
know that,
Muslim
actually.
Brotherhood himself. So again, for me, I'm sorry, but the IAEA doesn't really carry a lot of weight. Who's
Saudi
running them?
Arabia's
Who's in charge?
Saudi Arabia is nervous about it, as you said. United Arab Emirates, they welcome the agreement. Syria, of course, Syria liked it because they're up Iran's ass. Egypt welcomed news of the agreement.
Everybody who doesn't like us was going to like this agreement.
Yeah, China liked it, Russia liked it, and House Republicans said that it was was Obama's effort to divert attention after the ongoing debacle over healthcare.gov. Now, this is what I was talking about. We talked about the EU. The European, this is according to CNN.com, by the way. European Union facilitated the talks in Geneva after days of intense negotiations. EU High Representative Catherine Ashton and Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif issued a joint statement saying the deal was an important step to a final comprehensive solution.
Did they say how?
The adoption of the joint plan of action was possible thanks to a sense of mutual respect and a determination to find a way forward, which is beneficial for all of us. We took forward to swift implementation, which we will jointly monitor in close coordination with the IAEA.
I would simply say, where's that mutual respect for Israel coming from Iran? And it's not there. So
can I always come back to the same question with Israel. And I know it spits in the face. I know that my Christian friends will always come back to their love and affinity for the homeland and the Holy Land and all of that with Israel, and I don't dispute any of that. But at which point do we have to? Is there a point that we stop a blind allegiance to Israel? Is there a point that we have to balance out what we consider fair so that Israel and Iran find a fair, equitable solution?
Why do you think we have blind allegiance to Israel? And what do you define as blind allegiance?
I think we would support Israel regardless of what they do in the region, no matter what.
Did you look at this agreement? And have you looked at Israel's response?
I have not read the agreement.
My point is, clearly there's no blind allegiance to Israel. If there was, this agreement never would have been reached. Right?
I don't think there's blind. I don't think there's blind allegiance in Obama's camp with Israel.
Well, then we don't have blind allegiance to Israel.
I think a large number of
I have blind allegiance to Israel
politicians.
because I understand historically what they're faced with just for their very survival.
Right.
You know, they literally have an ocean on one side and enemies on 6 others. You know, six enemies around them that believe that they need to be obliterated from the face of the planet Earth for no good reason, by the way. Simply just because of their religion. So, again, it's. I mean, I don't know how to be any more clear with you. I mean, obviously you have an issue with Israel, and that's fine. You have every right to.
I've only been sitting on the show for 5 years. I have issues with Israel.
Yeah, but you've never clearly stated what your issue is. You've just stated.
No,
that
I've said several times on here that how Israel treats the Palestinians in the occupied territories is downright criminal. And as long as they continue to treat the people in the occupied lands the way that they treat them,
you have a when you consider what the Palestinians do with regards to indiscriminately launching rockets into Israel. Do you have a better solution for how Israel treats them? By the way, Israel has given land back that they rightfully took and seized. They've forced their own people out of settlements that they legally and legitimately built in territory that they had won after they were invaded.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm just trying to figure out what.
Sure, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a friend who's a guitar player in a band, and let's say that your friend, the guitar player, let's give him a nickname, Jammer, and let's say he's target number one for the American government, right? American government wants him dead or alive. They don't care how they don't care, but they want, for whatever reason, bad guitar playing, and they decide they want him dead or alive. He comes to your house to visit your family, and the United States government decides they want him so bad, they're just going to fly a drone over your house and take out your house. And he's there, and it doesn't matter if they get you and your wife and your kids and your wife's parents and maybe the neighbors, but they got him. That would never fly in this country. But in Israel, it flies all the time. In Israel, if they believe there's a suspected terrorist...
that's not
true. Yeah, it is. If they believe there's a suspected terrorist in an apartment building in the occupied lands, they will take out the apartment building,
Kevin,
to get to the head of the terrorist cell.
That is inherently not true, and I challenge you to...
I will have proof for you by next week's show. I will have proof for you by next week's show. I can't search on this computer tonight. I would have it for you now.
That's true.
Okay.
But I would challenge you to bring me absolute, legitimate, vetted, irrevocable proof that Israel goes in and indiscriminately kills whoever they want in order to get one person. Because that's what you're saying that they do.
That is exactly what they do.
So you prove it.
The treatment,
because that is an irresponsible statement to make as a man who's sitting on the end of that microphone.
I've got
what?
Numerous.
No, you don't.
Numerous vetted sources.
No, you don't.
I'll get you.
Because there have been times when there's been collateral damage when Israel has attacked to take people out, and they have always paid and they have always apologized every time.
Payment and apologizing after the fact doesn't do any good.
We do it.
Doesn't make it right for us either.
The point is you said Israel does it all the time and nobody else does. We do it. Is my
but
point.
It doesn't make it right.
I didn't say anything about right or
but
wrong.
If Obama says he's sorry about the ambassador in Benghazi, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it forgivable.
You shouldn't like this country either. I mean, what you're saying is correct because we do it too, and we actually do it more frequently.
We don't have blind allegiance to anything in this country. You don't have blind allegiance to Obama, and I wouldn't expect you to have blind allegiance to Bush or any Republican leader. If something was wrong, you'd stand up and say it was wrong.
I have blind allegiance to my country and the values and the customs that made it great in the first place, and that's about it.
Right.
But, okay, so
that's all I'm getting at. Listen, I'm just saying that Israel is not a saint in the process.
Right. Hey, Des. Right, you looking at the time?
She's not running boards. She doesn't have anything else set up for that. I think strips.
You just got to push play, right? You got to. The break should be set up. Anyway,
I don't think she knows what to do. And you're whistling at her like she's a dog. I hope she comes. Do you want to come in here and slap him? Do you want to come in here and slap him? You can come in here and beat him if you'd like to.
Beat Kevin like morning.
Do you want to come in here and hit him? He's whistling at you like a dog.
No. Listen, and we're.
I know, I heard him.
So you heard that,
but I'm not going to.
Sorry, and we're going to get to. We've run out of time tonight to get to the Japanese-China issue, so we'll get to that next week because that can wait.
Does that scare you?
It scares the hell out of me. Yeah, it is a potentially volatile situation.
Is it really? I was under the impression that Japan didn't have much of a military to really.
Well, no, that's the problem. We have a mutual protection treaty with Japan. Our job is to protect Japan. Japan has been since the end of World War II. Japan's constitution forbids them from having a standing military over a certain amount, which is very tiny. It's like 30,000 troops is all they have.
Right.
I mean, that's a zit on the back of
that's not enough
China
to stop North Korea.
No, nothing. It's nothing.
Let alone China.
So, so the Japanese Defense Force are well trained. They use a high tech stuff, but they would be a hiccup for China.
British Columbia could override them.
I don't know that I go that far.
All right, when we come back, we'll wrap some other stuff up, including a discussion of my review of the Xbox One. Won't spend a lot of time with that. Football picks are around the corner as well in the next hour. And some other national stories we'll wrap up as well. Trodo should be here also. He is St. Paul, the voice of reason.
He's K-Dog, the loose cannon.
Strip running the boards. Desi running the social media. This is the Outlaw Radio Network on
EdgeMediaSource.com.
Get outlawed.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. A powerful winter storm system is continuing to pummel the southwest U.S. Freezing rain, ice, and widespread snow is crippling parts of Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Texas. John Barton with the Texas Transportation Department says road crews have been out for hours trying to keep roadways open throughout the state.
Travel is a bit precarious, and we're discouraging travel that's not absolutely necessary for emergency situations. But all roads, with a few exceptions around Midland, Odessa, and El Paso through the mountain ranges, are open to traffic.
Hundreds of flights have been canceled out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The storm system is expected to head south and eastward just in time for the Thanksgiving holiday. Voters in Honduras went to the polls today to elect a new president. It's expected to be an extremely close contest. This election comes 4 years after the country's left-leaning president was deposed in a coup. NPR's Carrie Khan is in Honduras. She reports the wife of the former president is one of the 8 candidates vying for the presidency.
There are 8 candidates vying for the presidency, but the 2 top candidates is the wife of the deposed president. Her name is Xiomara Castro, and she is running on a platform of pretty much trying to reestablish what happened before the coup. Her husband has been by her side at all campaign rallies, and so it is a chance for people to bring him back. The second major candidate is the all-powerful president of the Congress, and he's from one of the 2 traditional parties, the National Party, which is the ruling party. And he is a law and order man. His main slogan is he's going to do whatever he takes to bring peace to Honduras, and that includes his plan to put a soldier on every corner.
NPR's Carrie Khan in Honduras. Rebel fighters in the eastern suburbs of Damascus are trying to end a month-long siege by government forces. Ben Gilbert is in Beirut. He reports the fighting began on Friday when rebel units attacked government military positions in an effort to end the blockade.
Rebels say the government has prevented food, medicine, and clean water from entering the eastern suburbs of Damascus in an effort to starve the opposition into submission. The siege has affected tens of thousands of Syrian civilians as well as fighters in the area. The blockade has also halted weapon supplies to rebels and given forces loyal to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad the upper hand around the capital. Reports say 2 prominent civilian activists who made regular appearances on regional Arab TV channels were among those killed in the weekend's fighting. According to the United Nations, the conflict in Syria has killed more than 100,000 people. For NPR News, I'm Ben Gilbert in Beirut.
The average price of a gallon of gas in the U.S. went up 3 cents over the past 2 weeks. The Lumberg survey says the price of regular is about $3.25. This is NPR News. The authorities in the Central African Republic are rejecting international warnings of impending genocide in the country. NPR's Fabia Quistarton reports that sectarian divisions have poisoned an already tense situation in the CAR, where the president was toppled by rebels earlier this year.
The US, the UN and the former colonial power France have all recently cautioned that the situation in the Central African Republic could slide into genocide. But the CAR's foreign minister says such statements are not helpful and could lead people to think there's imminent danger. Impoverished Central African Republic, with its history of rebellions and coups, is currently beset by more strife. The ousted president has been replaced by CAR's first Muslim-led rebel government, which has little control over the largely Christian country. Fighting has broken out in some areas between mainly Muslim former rebels and Christian militia groups protecting their communities. Fabia Quistarton, NPR News, Dakar.
The Vatican today publicly unveiled a handful of bone fragments that are believed to belong to St. Peter. Pope Francis prayed over the fragments at the start of Sunday service. Father Steve Reese, a priest from Houston, says the remains were a fitting part of today's service.
By showing these relics or having them present in the Mass, he's showing the connection between his office and the office of Peter, that he exists in continuity with the first of the Prince of the Apostles, chosen by Christ himself to lead the church.
There's been debate over whether the relics that were found in a shoebox truly belong to the first pope. It's the first time they've been exhibited in public. I'm Windsor Johnston, NPR News in Washington.
Support.
Brothers Power Sports has been a locally owned family business in Bremerton since 1949. From new and pre-owned motorcycles, ATVs, scooters, boats, and watercraft to parts and service and apparel. Brothers Power Sports is committed to being your source for all your motorsports needs, and they're a proud sponsor of the Habitat for Humanity of Kitsap County. Brothers Power Sports, 5205 First Street in Bremerton, and online at brotherspowersports.com. Stop in and feel the difference at Brothers Power Sports in Bremerton.
As Kitsap County's largest maintenance provider, Team Innovative in Paulsbo provides commercial and residential maintenance to hundreds of millions of dollars of local real estate. With services including parking lot maintenance and street cleaning to landscape and design, Team Innovative is committed to using a green approach and following a strong environmental conscience. Team Innovative Services, 697-6858, or visit them online at getinnovative.net. Team Innovative Services, get serious, get innovative.
Make a difference in your community and volunteer at Kitsap Humane Society. We have opportunities for everyone and need help in all areas of the shelter. You can clean, feed, and help socialize animals or answer phones, greet customers, and help run special events and fundraisers. KHS volunteers also lead programs including our foster program, canine training, and animal-assisted therapy. If you are interested in volunteering at Kitsap Humane Society, visit our website at kitsap-humane.org.
The Legacy Group in Silverdale is a well-respected independent mortgage banker absolutely committed to helping Kitsap County families on their path to home ownership. As an employee-owned company, the Legacy Group has a strong stake in your success, and they want to be your lifetime partner in helping you develop a strong real estate portfolio. Call the Legacy Group in Silverdale today at 698-6440 and find out how they can help you get started on the road to home ownership. 698-6440 for the Legacy Group, a lending experience that's a little different and a lot smarter.
I'm Elaine Terso with Elaine Terso Photography. I've partnered with Ish Vintage Clothing, the Oxford Suites, and Parties by a Perfect Place to create our unique boudoir, glam, and pinup parties, which is perfect for a girls' night out or bachelorette parties. You choose your theme, get your hair and makeup done, play dress up for the evening, and then receive an accordion booklet of your photos, plus an 8x10 of your favorite photo. For parties for 7 or more, the hostess is free. For more information about our unique parties, visit my website, ElaineTersophotography.com.
Measures which will affect the lives of millions, born and unborn, are now before us. We must expect a great expense of blood. And then, we must always remember that a free constitution of civil government cannot be purchased at too dear a rate, as there is nothing on this side of Jerusalem of greater importance to mankind. I see a new nation ready to take its place in the world. Not an empire, but a republic. And a republic of laws, not men.
Those who would trade our freedom for the soup kitchen and the welfare state have told us they have a utopian solution of peace without victory. They call their policy accommodation. And they say if we'll only avoid any direct confrontation with the enemy, he'll forget his evil ways and learn to love us. All who oppose them are indicted as warmongers.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network. OutlawRadioNetwork.com.
You know, as a lib, which I am, I mean, you know, socially anyway, can I be honest and say that every time I hear Reagan, it just makes sense. It just, you know.
Well, he was a Democrat.
Well, it just, the way he phrases things, the way he said things, the way he sold the ideas, it just made sense.
Yeah,
you know?
It really did, and that's why even that's why so many Democrats. Listen, as a conservative, you know, there are two presidents that I truly identify with because of the things that they had to say and the way that they said them and the way that they presented themselves, and that's Kennedy and Reagan.
All right, I was trying to guess who they were.
Okay, well, I apologize.
I was going to try. By the way,
he's a Democrat, so I'm just. It's not about political party for me. You can be a conservative. It doesn't matter if you've got an R or a D next to your name. That's irrelevant to me.
So how's this? You know, anybody who cares is probably watching it. But At halftime, it was 24-zip Denver Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
You would have figured, that's a game. 24-zip. You know, you spot Denver 24 points.
What's going on now?
Wait, what quarter are they in?
They're in overtime, tied 31 up.
Wow.
So
Denver-
why would you sound surprised for starters? Do you watch the Seahawks half the time?
No, I'm just saying, if you spot Peyton Manning 24 points
Peyton Manning's
at
offense
halftime,
is just unreal. They're
you,
so
you-
good.
you just would have figured they would have kept scoring points in the second half.
Do you watch the Seahawks?
Of course I do.
Yeah,
They're
but
down almost every game in the first half.
Yeah, but the Seahawks are a very unusual team.
And they don't come back until the second half. I mean, it's not unusual that a team can do that.
The Patriots, first of all, they do not have a solid defense, and
But
they have hardly any. Their offensive capability is limited by their youth and their receiving core.
Well, the other thing is, though, too, is a lot of people don't account for the fact that when a team gets that far ahead, they stop trying as hard.
Yeah, that's true.
Even if it's just one or two players, that's like, we got this one. We're up by 20 points. We don't have to worry. No, you still need to play the game.
Well, in the NFL, you sure do.
So.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it's going to be a good game. We'll have to see how it plays out.
Oh, it's just going to be a
that
tie.
may be why Trojo's not here.
It's going to be a
There was
tie.
already one tie today.
There was.
Packers and the Vikings.
Oh, hey, where's your rant?
You have a rant?
Yeah, where's your rant? Come on.
Which about the tie? I don't have a rant.
Come on. You get mad at
There's
soccer.
one tie this year.
You get mad at soccer because
One tie.
games can end in ties.
Listen, hold on. Let me
but
get the calculator.
God forbid. No, football ends in a tie, and
There are 32 teams in the NFL. They each play 16 regular season games. That's 512 games, and we have one that ends in a tie. One out of 512. In soccer, more than half their games end in a tie.
You know,
that's not a sport.
You know, though,
that's a frolicking activity in the rain resolved for 11-year-old girls that want to prance around in the mud in their little cleats so nobody gets their
he just doesn't stop when he gets on that rant. You know what? You know what? Hey, no, I said about football, not about soccer. You know the soccer teams around here, though, they play like 2 or 3 games a week. You know that, right?
Who cares? It's soccer.
I'm just pointing out the facts.
It's not taxing. It's not hard. It's let's run around and maybe score a goal.
Okay. Hey, can I see you run for? Let me see you run for 20 minutes.
If it was
half
my
hour.
job, if all I did was run, then I could do that.
It's harder than you think.
Once you're conditioned, once you're in conditioned, and you
No,
can run, yes.
no, you're very incorrect because there's a lot of sprinting that's involved. So it's not just like running for a long period of time. You have to sprint, which
Whatever.
uses a lot more energy.
Stop it. I don't know why you are so into sticking up.
Hey, I've
for the
played it for years.
for the sport of soccer.
I played it for years, man.
I just don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm disappointed in you, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I would expect more from you than that. Honestly.
Oh, come on.
Seriously. I'd expect more from you than that.
No,
Soccer's
you
not a
don't.
sport.
No, you don't.
It's a 5-year-old. It's a sport for 5-year-olds and people in rec leagues that are too old to do anything else real. It's like softball. No, I mean softball's fun. Softball might be a sport, but it's something people play when they're too old to play anything else.
Well, yeah, that's because there's no profession for it, though.
Why is there no profession for
and
it?
softball's for people who couldn't make it. Play
Why
baseball.
is there no
offense,
profession for
Hold on.
it?
Because softball's not baseball. Baseball is in St. Paul. No offense.
Oh yeah, none taken.
Softball is for people who didn't make it playing pro. Essentially, I mean, am I incorrect? Or they're doing it as a fun hobby.
Or it's girls.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of girls really playing. Even on the mixed leagues where they got the men and the women, there's not usually a whole lot of women playing. St. Paul?
I hate this fucking computer, dude. I can't pull anything up on it. Anyway.
I'll tell you right now, by the way.
I'll work on them both this week, all right?
I'll tell you
It's
right
not
now,
your
by the
fault,
way.
but, yeah, what?
Trojo is winning as we speak. Actually, you and Trojo are tied in the lead for our football picks.
Yeah, I know.
And Dez is in last place. We all had horrible weeks this week.
Well, that's because, the results were crazy off the charts.
One of us picked Jacksonville to win. One of us did.
Who picked Jacksonville to
I
win?
did.
Of course he did.
I did.
He's been picking Jacksonville
Figured sooner or later he was going to get it right.
I picked him to beat Houston, man, because Houston's horrible, and they won. So we'll do picks later. Hey, listen, I wanted to talk about the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to give just a quick review, my opinions of the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had a chance to see it at all yet since it came out on Thursday night?
Nope.
And Strip hasn't. Desi, have you had a chance to see the Xbox One face-to-face in person?
That's not true. I've seen it.
You haven't played it, though.
I've seen it before you saw it. I had my hands on one before you saw it.
That's right, because you know somebody who works for the company and
yeah, long story there, but yeah.
And we won't talk about his
Actually,
name. Bill Gates.
I could have played it if I'd asked.
But you didn't ask.
I did not. Well, and it was loaded with Minecraft, I think.
Minecraft?
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. So let me say this about the Xbox One. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I'm just going to give just a couple of thoughts about the Xbox One. If we accept that $400 is a good price for the PlayStation 4, because that's what the PS4 is being charged to buy it new, is $400.
Is that you, Des?
She has gas.
Sound like you're having sex with a frog.
She has gas. If you accept that $400 is reasonable for the PS4, does anybody think that that's not reasonable?
No, it's very reasonable.
Okay, then $500 is fair for the
no,
for the
it's
Xbox.
Not. You know, do you remember when the
Hey, I'm giving my review. Shut your mouth.
No, you remember when the PS3 and 360 came out?
Yes.
You know one of the major things that killed the PS3?
What's that?
The price tag.
Yes.
It was $100 more than the Xbox.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And do you know why they priced it more than that? It was because of the Blu-ray player.
Last I had heard, the PS4 was outselling the 360. I'm not sure if that's still the case.
You mean the Xbox One, you mean?
Yeah. Sorry.
Let me explain to you why there's a difference.
Hey, breaking news, and this is because we just talked about the Iran issue.
Yeah.
President Obama just while he was here in Seattle, gave a quick snippet to the reporters.
Mm-hmm.
Says they've created a new website for Iran to register its nukes.
Thanks, ass.
Okay.
And it's by a Canadian development team. Yeah.
Canadian Global International.
ObamaNukes.com.
Dropped by every company but the U.S. No.
So here's why I believe it's a fair deal, because if you buy the PS4, you are getting a video game system that'll play movies. Okay, fair enough, right? That's what people wanted for. Fair enough. If you buy the 360, you are getting a video game system that will play movies and do so much more.
Will it play Blu-ray?
Yes.
Will it play 3D Blu-ray?
No.
Well,
neither will the PS4.
Worthless to me.
Neither will the PS4. Here's what I will tell you: the way that the 360 has been built. Is
Wait. Hold on. How come they're not able to play 3D? It's not the far as I know.
PS4 does not. I just read an article about it today, as a matter of fact.
Then I would assume they'd have some kind of update in the works for that, because
it
doesn't make sense that either system. I know
wouldn't play 3D.
Well,
movies.
and for instance, because they have HDMI out, and this is kind of my geek tech side coming out.
Sure.
It's got HDMI out. That system's got the capability, whether it's programmed for it yet or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this for a fact with the Xbox. Kevin may not know this. The Xbox does not have you can't do Dolby 5.1 via the HDMI out into like a receiver.
Surround sound, by the way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but that's an update. Actually, they may have sent the update out already for it, but
yeah, I don't know.
Initially, before it launched, it didn't have that capability.
Right.
It just that capability was broke. They had to fix it.
Yeah.
So
what they did with the Xbox is they basically built it to play video games, but they also built it to interact with everything else that you're doing on your television. So interacting with Comcast, for example, if you have Comcast. So, for example, I can sit in my living room and I can say Xbox Watch TV. It'll go to the TV. Xbox Watch ESPN. It'll switch to ESPN. You can.
Can I just say though?
Yes.
And this is, it's a great concept. Microsoft has done something that they should have done a long time ago, which is they've got their phone now, they've got the Xbox One, they've got Windows 7, or actually Windows 8 now, and all of those are all integrated into each other like they should be, like
Right.
Apple did a few years ago and kind of made everything work together correctly.
Right.
But the Xbox, let's be realistic, the Xbox One's nothing more than a computer. Same with the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
They can program to do whatever they want as long as they've got the hardware capability.
Oh, exactly. Who's got the ball?
So
New England?
He's talking to you.
Sorry, I just noticed that New England's about to score. No, and you're absolutely right. The other cool thing that I like about this that I think is going to be a huge selling point for them moving forward is the Skype feature, and the ability to they don't call it pinning. What do they call it? You can basically split the screen.
It's Snap.
Snap. Thank you.
Yep.
So basically, and this is where I would envision myself using it. Right? Paul and I are. Paul's got an Xbox One at his house. I got an Xbox One at my house. We're watching the Seahawks game. Paul can bring up Skype on his Xbox One. I can have Skype on my Xbox
Which
One.
is actually a cool freaking
We
feature.
can be talking via Skype, have our Skypes on there, have it pinned up in the corner while we're watching the game. Or the other place I'm going to use it a lot is I may be playing Madden 25, which, by the way, wait till you see Madden 25.
And you know the other thing that K-Dog doesn't realize about the Xbox One is that camera can scan your entire living room and start putting advertisements.
Yeah, based on stuff
what you're
that's
seeing.
in your
now,
who cares? I don't care.
Well, I'm just saying, but I mean, essentially, you have a camera that's hooked up to the internet that it actually freaked out a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Google Glasses.
Mhm.
It's like, where does my security start and where does it end?
Yeah,
that's
privacy,
a very,
security
very
and
gray
privacy.
line right now
Yeah.
with new
But
technology.
here's the other thing I'm going to use
Game
it for.
over. New England wins.
New England wins. So here's the other thing that I'm going to be using it for. I'm going to be playing Madden, right? And while I'm playing Madden, I can have TV in the upper right-hand corner.
You'd be playing the same game that's on TV.
I can be playing the same game that's on TV. Or I can have Internet Explorer pinned in the upper right-hand corner, and I can have it to whatever website I want. So, for example, I like to listen to ESPN Radio while I play video games. Okay? So I can listen to ESPN Radio while I'm...
On that same note, how much do you know about the PS4?
Again, it's...
No. This is a very...
I've done some research, but not a lot.
Okay, so...
I've been an Xbox guy since...
now, see, I was originally a
since
PlayStation
the first Xbox.
guy. I was originally a PlayStation. I switched because PlayStation had their network go down because it got hacked.
Mm-hmm.
Not once, but twice while I owned it. And the second time it went down, I couldn't play any games online for a month. And finally I said, screw this, I'm turning it in. But that being said, can you really speak that the Xbox is going to do so much better if you don't know that much about the PS4?
Well, here's what I know. I'm not saying which one will do better. I'm saying that if you take the video game capabilities of the two, I'd rate them a wash. Okay,
they're actually almost identical systems. They really are.
Yeah,
Video
almost
card
identical
wise,
system. Video card
processors.
wise, processors, hard drive space is exactly the same. The one advantage that PlayStation is going to give you is the PlayStation has free internet, so you have free online service as opposed to the Xbox that you're paying for gold. So if you take the system, the advantage Xbox gives you is it comes with the camera, and the Kinect is part of the price tag. If you want to go with the PlayStation's camera, you're going to have to buy it extra, which is how much? About $100.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then the price becomes a wash. But if you just take those as video game systems, they're going to be a wash. Okay. The 360 does so much more and interacts so much more, and I think it has so much more room to grow with what people are going to do.
But
where people are gonna
can
use
you
it
really
at.
say that? Because you don't know
I
enough-
just feel like
But
I know that the PS4 doesn't have any of the other.
All right, we get it. It's becoming a
no,
roundabout
hold
conversation.
on.
I just don't feel like the PS4 has any room to grow
See?
other than
Do
video
you hear
games
that?
and movies.
Do you hear that?
What?
He feels.
From
'cause
the
he doesn't
research
know.
I've done, the PS4 doesn't have anywhere to grow other than
he
movies
doesn't
and
know.
video games.
Anyways.
Okay. It's
I'm being the devil.
It's the same trap that Nintendo fell into.
Hey, I'm just being
if
the
you do what
devil's
you've always
advocate
done and you don't grow, you're gonna lose your market.
Yeah.
Well, Nintendo's going to be dead after the release of this.
No, they won't.
Well,
they will not be.
Well, the Wii U is horrible numbers on their sales.
Yeah, they still market to kids, which has always been their thing. They market to families. They do well in that aspect.
Speaking of marketing to kids, Trojo is here, so
Yes,
we'll bring
he
him in
is.
studio here in
He's
a couple of
standing behind
moments.
me. He's
We'll
black
get
as
into our
ever,
football
too.
picks.
Wow.
But anyway, I will say this.
You know, New Orleans barely escaped with a win over Atlanta, 17-13.
I will say this. The last thing on the 360, on the Xbox One, then we'll put this away.
Thank God.
The only thing I will say about the one, if you get it, have somebody who's computer
Literate?
savvy to help you with it, because there is a steep learning curve on figuring out what it does. It's not as simple as it used to be just to put a game in, let's play a game. There's a whole bunch of tricks to it and what to do and how to set it up and commands and all of that. Eventually, though, when you go to your home screen, you'll have your favorite TV shows will be pinned in there.
Oh,
and your
come on now. The
games
whole
and-
thing's command based. You just speak to it. And
No,
you can-
but the setup and the process of setting up and all that. There's
No,
some
it's
things.
not that. It's-
I had to do some troubleshooting to get it to work right, but it's worth it. I'll tell you, it's pretty outstanding.
No, I'd love to
So.
get one. Actually, it's funny. I've been entering some contests to get.
You and Wyatt should come over on Wednesday and check mine out. I'm off
you know,
Wednesday.
If maybe, well, he's got school. He's out early though on Wednesday.
Come over Wednesday before he gets off then for a little bit, and then you and I can play around, and then you can pick him up and bring him back over.
Well, I can't.
He can
drive.
play Ghosts.
I can't drive.
I'll pick him up. I'll pick you up. Whatever.
We'll see. Maybe if
I got Ghosts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He'd probably love you for that. I got to get him that for Christmas.
Yeah, I got Ghost. I got Madden, and I got Need for Speed.
You know, actually, kind of getting back in the video game topic.
Yes.
I heard Battlefield 4 is a lot better than Ghosts.
I've heard that too.
Battlefield 4 is badass. You guys can come to my house and play.
A lot of people are apparently switching from Call of Duty back over to Battlefield.
Battlefield is
but
freaking just
the problem is
shit.
You don't want to play Battlefield on your 360.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
single player wise or whatever, it's fine. But the maps are so huge. They were designed for I think like 128 players for the Xbox One. And so you could have like 64.
It's only like when I get the Xbox One, I'm gonna try to get it for my son for Christmas. If you can, it's $10 to upgrade because I have Battlefield 4 for the 360. It's $10 to upgrade it to the Xbox One version.
But what I'm saying is though, so if you buy it for the 360, the maps are so huge, which Battlefield's always had an issue with, unless you're playing on PC because they can handle more people. The maps were they're too big. I mean, for a 16-on-16 match, they're just too big. So you have to.
Oh, they're huge maps.
So you're limited to the playing only the small maps.
I was one of the first people in the world on Battlefield 4 to get the Battle Star for an M1 tank, which basically just means you open up everything and you master the M1 tank. And I'm telling you, that thing is more realistic as a simulator than the actual simulators I had in the Army in the M1 tank. Oh, freaking unbelievably amazing, dude. Really cool.
That's outstanding.
Shout out to World of Tanks.
So here's what we're gonna do. We got break coming up here in a second. We come back, we'll switch gears, we'll get into football. And we're gonna spread this out a little bit in football because what the Huskies did yesterday deserves a discussion. And it sets up for a very interesting
They're
Apple
still,
Cup.
by the way, not in the top 25.
No, but I don't think they should be. They've really crapped their pants against higher ranked competition.
They barely lost to Stanford.
But
they
they
had
lost-
Stanford on the ropes. Stanford is ranked 8th.
Yeah.
They lost by 2 touchdowns to Oregon.
Yeah.
When Oregon was ranked number 2.
Yeah.
So again, I just and Arizona is now who just pummeled Oregon.
Yeah.
And pummeled the Huskies. They're in the top 10. So I'm just saying the only teams they've lost to are top 10 teams.
All right, football picks are next. They've got one other loss in there too to UCLA. Football picks are next.
Another top 10 team.
Outlaw Radio Network back after this.
Get outlawed.
Brothers Power Sports has been a locally owned family business in Bremerton since 1949. From new and pre-owned motorcycles, ATVs, scooters, boats, and watercraft to parts and service and apparel. Brothers Power Sports is committed to being your source for all your motorsports needs, and they're a proud sponsor of the Habitat for Humanity of Kitsap County. Brothers Power Sports, 5205 1st Street in Bremerton, and online at brotherspowersports.com. Stop in and feel the difference at Brothers Power Sports in Bremerton.
As Kitsap County's largest maintenance provider, Team Innovative in Paulsbo provides commercial and residential maintenance to hundreds of millions of dollars of local real estate. With services including parking lot maintenance and street cleaning to landscape and design, Team Innovative is committed to using a green approach and following a strong environmental conscience. Team Innovative Services, 697-6858, or visit them online at getinnovative.net. Team Innovative Services, get serious, get innovative.
Make a difference in your community and volunteer at Kitsap Humane Society. We have opportunities for everyone and need help in all areas of the shelter. You can clean, feed, and help socialize animals or answer phones, greet customers, and help run special events and fundraisers. KHS volunteers also lead programs including our foster program, canine training, and animal-assisted therapy. If you are interested in volunteering at Kitsap Humane Society, visit our website at kitsap-humane.org.
The Legacy Group in Silverdale is a well-respected independent mortgage banker, absolutely committed to helping Kitsap County families on their path to home ownership. As an employee-owned company, the Legacy Group has a strong stake in your success, and they want to be your lifetime partner in helping you develop a strong real estate portfolio. Call the Legacy Group in Silverdale today at 698-6440 and find out how they can help you get started on the road to home ownership. 698-6440 for the Legacy Group, a lending experience that's a little different and a lot smarter.
I'm Elaine Terso with Elaine Terso Photography. I've partnered with Ish Vintage Clothing, the Oxford Suites, and Parties by a Perfect Place to create our unique boudoir, glam, and pinup parties, which is perfect for a girls' night out or bachelorette parties. You choose your theme, get your hair and makeup done, play dress up for the evening, and then receive an accordion booklet of your photos, plus an 8x10 of your favorite photo. For parties or 7 or more, the hostess is free. For more information about our unique parties, visit my website, ElaineTersophotography.com.
Nobody? Really?
I was letting Paul.
I fade the music so you guys can talk. And
I was listening to the music.
That was a nice job.
It's nice music, man.
You know, I know
Outlaw
Tro wants
Radio
to talk,
Network.
but Tro wanted to talk, but I had his mic muted still. Forgot he was in there. I can't. It's hard to see him over the.
Final score, by the way, New England upends Denver. So Denver falls to 9-2 on the year.
Love it, love it, love it.
Kansas City lost earlier today.
Turn the black man's microphone
They
on.
fall to 8. Sorry, they're also 9-2, right?
9-2.
Yeah, so they're 9-2 as well.
I apologize. I turned the wrong mic on.
Well, it's okay.
And so your Seattle Seahawks still have the best record all by themselves, though, now in the league at 10-1.
Hey,
so-
Seattle moved up in the rankings with a bye. How the fuck did that happen?
That's
You had teams to lose. That's how.
I know. I'm just.
That's how, man. That's
it's
how.
It's just not a common occurrence. It's just that's
No,
what
it's
kind
not
of
at
a year
all.
it's been for Seattle. To me, it's like a precursor. It's like a way of fate stepping in and saying this is a team of destiny in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna give them a bye week, and they're still gonna move up in the rankings. I mean, it's just how cool is that?
And Seattle sports history says that they're going to find a way to screw it up. I mean,
Kevin,
I'm
shut up,
optimistic
Kevin.
that they're not
Shut
going
up,
to. I'm
Kevin.
just saying
I
that
hate you right now, Kevin. I can't believe that you just said that.
I'm saying if you look at Seattle sports history, this is the perfect time to break it.
There
But
are
I'm saying
places you do not need to go.
Look at the history of Seattle
Well, you
sports
make me feel
history.
like Bill Buckner over here, okay? I feel like I'm in Boston right now. Okay, Boston got their freaking rings. They went and they won the World Series.
You can't compare us to Boston.
Really can't compare that to Boston.
Because even though the Red Sox hadn't won anything, the Bruins had won stuff, and the Patriots had won stuff, and the Celtics had won stuff. Just their baseball team sucked. Every single team out of this market is sucked, except for the Storm, who won one title, and the Huskies, who had half of a national title in '91, and they still got fucked because of the Hurricanes.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Screw the Kitsap Sun for charging for their damn website. When I just went to their site and there was a full page freaking ad I had to go through before I could even get to the site.
All right.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Even though you paid for a...
No, I clicked the link and there's a full page ad. Like, come on, you really got to charge people to. Sorry,
Got you coming in, they got you going out.
It's ridiculous.
Hey, Caleb, make this.
The Suns got to make their money, man.
Make this computer hot. We're going to go get a football. Okay. All right, Kevin.
Suns got to make their money, man. You can't blame the Sun for that.
Off of there.
By the way, I'm still trying to recover from last night. It was fun last night.
Hey, we got a surprise for you in the last call, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, we got Hey, you want to hear the best part? We got a surprise for Kevin too, and he doesn't know it.
Oh
no, the one.
All right.
You're gonna love the one for Kevin.
All right, we're ready as soon as you have music ready to go.
All right.
I know
let's
you're.
see.
How's the music go? I'll just sing it for you guys.
That's all right. It's good.
Somebody give me the beat. I don't remember how it goes.
All right.
Go ahead. It's good.
First, let's run down last week's results of week number 12 in the NFL.
I like that sport.
Good sport.
One more game still on the docket. That's tomorrow night's game with San Francisco traveling to Washington to take on the Redskins. For the purpose of our contest, it's not going to matter. We all picked the Niners to win. So here's where things are at. In last place this week was Desi with 5 wins. In third place was Trojo with 6.
Yep.
And a tie for first between Paul and I. We both had 7. I would like to point out that Paul had some really
team.
brave picks. He was the only one to pick St. Louis to beat Chicago, and the only one to pick Arizona to beat Indianapolis. I had some even braver picks. I was the only one to pick Tennessee to beat Oakland, and I was the only motherfucker to pick Jacksonville to beat the Houston Texans. Go Jags. So here's where things stand at the end of Week 12 with one more game pending. Through 5 weeks of the season, Desi is averaging about 8 wins a week. She has 43. Okay?
Way to go, Dez. You go, girl.
And then here's your standings for the 3 of us that have played the whole time. Trojo is in third place with 105 wins through 12 weeks. And as a tie for first place, Paul and I remain tied with 117 wins apiece. Trojo, you are only 12 games back. Mm-hmm. So if Paul and I take the next 2 weeks off, you could catch up.
Catch up anyway.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into our picks. I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in unless you guys both want to oppose it. But we do live in the state of Washington. Next Friday is the annual Apple Cup game, as the Washington State Cougars will travel to Husky Stadium to take on the University of Washington Huskies. It is the first time that I can remember in a very long time that both teams are bowl eligible. So both teams will be going to a bowl game. The Dogs are without their starting quarterback, Keith Price. Didn't matter yesterday when they scored 69 points.
69.
And Wazoo has looked much better this year. So, that's what we're going to start with. I'm going to pick first. We also will not use this as a double down if we don't agree. We need to stick with the NFL games for the double downs. But I will go with the University of Washington. The game's at home. And frankly, if I ever pick a Cougar team to win anything, I will castrate myself. Paul?
UW.
Trojo.
Oh, I got a personal stake in this because one of the guys that played for the University of Washington, actually him and his wife purchased. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this plot in there, this ad in there right now before we get to the 4th hour. John Timu and his wife actually purchased 2 vehicles from me. He came over from University of Washington and bought 2 cars.
So you're saying,
hold on, why? Why'd they come all the way over to your dealership?
I'm that good.
No.
Yeah.
Did they know you ahead of time?
I'm that good. They was actually sent to me via referral.
All right.
So,
and you know the sales tax over here on the cars is less than
sales
Seattle.
tax are way lower. So yeah, I got to go with the University of
How the fuck
Washington.
did John Timu afford a car?
So you're saying 2? You're saying that John Timu came over here with illegal booster funds and bought a car?
No.
Okay.
But his wife is in the Navy.
You can sail the 7 seas.
Right.
All right. So who you picking?
University of Washington, man. Go.
All right, Desi, Huskies, Cougars, Apple Cup. It's a college game. We don't normally do this, but pick one.
We know if Danger Boy was here, he'd take a Cougar.
Huskies and the Cougars. Huskies, all right.
I don't know.
Go Dogs.
All right, now we'll go to the NFL games. 3 games on Thanksgiving Day.
That's a lot of
We'll open with the Green Bay Packers. Who I just...
You said they were going to win because they had Matt Flynn.
Well, Matt Flynn,
that one, didn't you?
Matt Flynn looked good today, though. He didn't play badly today. And to be honest, I thought Matt Flynn was going to stink up the place. He didn't lose the game. In fact, here's Flynn's numbers for today: 21 of 36, 218 yards and a touchdown. Not bad, especially considering how bad he played in Seattle and Oakland and wherever else he played this year. They traveled to Detroit to take on the Lions, who were beaten by the Bucks today. And Stafford threw 4 interceptions today. Paul, you're first. Green Bay at Detroit.
I'm actually going to... this is a tough one, actually, but I'm going to take Green Bay.
Green
I
Bay.
think Green Bay needs the win, and they're going to want it more. Detroit
By the way,
lost.
Green Bay is 5-5, so they're still very alive in the playoff hunt. The Lions are 6-5. I'm sorry, Packers are 5-1. Excuse me. Jojo?
Yeah, Matt Stafford won't sneak up the place like he did this next week. I'm going to go with Detroit.
Detroit. Desi,
Packers.
you got to turn your mic up, sweetheart.
Say it like you got a pair.
Packers.
Packers, thank you.
Say Packers.
I'm going Detroit as well. I mean, Matt Flynn's not going to do that again. I do reserve the right to change my mind if Aaron Rodgers comes back. All right, Trojo, you're up first on this one. The Oakland Raiders in a rematch of the glory days when both of these teams mattered, which is not now. The Oakland Raiders travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys at Cowboy Stadium. By the way, I played this game in simulation on Madden 25 100 times today on my Xbox One, and 100% of the time, the Xbox One tried to commit suicide. Trojo?
Oh, that's easy. Dallas.
Yeah. Desi?
I will go with Trojo's pick. I'll go Dallas as well.
Dallas as well. All right, I'm going Dallas as well. The game is in Dallas, and Oakland is horrible. Paul?
Dallas.
Fair enough. Desi, you're up first. The final game on Thanksgiving night. And this will be good because the tryptophan should have kicked in by that time, and you should be past the fuck out. Pittsburgh travels to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Desi?
Steelers.
You have the Steelers?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going with Baltimore. Baltimore had a good win today. Paul?
What are we listening to?
Pittsburgh and Baltimore?
Pittsburgh's been playing well lately, but so has Baltimore, and I think they're still competing. Let's go with Baltimore.
You got Baltimore? Let me see. Pittsburgh clobbered the Browns today.
Yes, they did.
And Baltimore...
Escaped.
Let's see. Baltimore... no, Baltimore clobbered the Jets 19-3. And so, Paul, you're picking Baltimore?
Call that clobbered, but yeah.
Well,
Baltimore.
you hold them to 3 points.
When you hold the Jets, when you beat the Jets, and the Jets only score 3 points, and you're Baltimore, that's an escape.
Yeah. Jojo, who you picking?
There you go.
Steelers is making a late push, man. I think I'm gonna go with the Steelers.
Fair enough. All right. Then the Sunday games. Jacksonville heads to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Now let me give you. I just want to share this with you.
Cleveland
Okay. Brandon Whedon, the quarterback for the Browns in the game today, was 13 of 30 for 209 yards. Okay. 13 of 30. Okay, that's outstanding for you Brown fans.
It's okay to go ahead and call this the shit stain game of the week.
I actually don't believe it is.
You don't?
No, because I think Jacksonville is a playoff contender.
In 3 years.
And the Jaguars, I'm trying to find. Oh, here we go. Chad Henne, you ready for this? 23 of 32, 239 yards.
I'm sorry. Did you just say Jacksonville is a playoff contender?
No, I was being a smartass. I'm going with Jacksonville to win again because the only thing that would be worse than Jacksonville losing the rest of their games would be them winning some of them and not getting a high draft pick. So I've got Jacksonville because that franchise is cursed and will be till they move to L.A. Paul?
You know what, Kevin? Just because I want to keep it even between us,
yes,
and I don't want to give you the opportunity to move ahead of me in the scoring, I'm going to absolutely, kind of pull a Kevin here, and I'm going to go with Cleveland.
Cleveland, all right, fair enough. All right, Trojo.
Wow.
You want to borrow a quarter? You can flip for it.
I almost want to call this one a tie, but Jacksonville did have a big win today, believe it or not. So
they did.
And Cleveland didn't look like
a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible.
And Jacksonville does have 2 wins this year.
How many wins does Cleveland have?
4.
Cleveland's got 4.
And it's in
Cleveland.
It's in Cleveland.
And the mistake by the lake.
I'll just give Cleveland the home field advantage. Cleveland.
Fair enough. Desi?
Cleveland.
All right. Paul. Tennessee traveling to Indianapolis.
Yeah, Indy got the.
By the way, can somebody answer a question for me?
Yeah.
What the fuck happened to Indy? At the beginning of the season, they were world beaters. They beat the Seahawks. They beat the Broncos.
They beat the 49ers.
They beat the 49ers.
I can tell you. No. It's the curse of it's
injuries.
Well, and they did lose their receiver Austin Collie
and Reggie Wayne too.
Oh, Reggie
but
Wayne.
it's the curse of Richard of Trent. What's the running back? God dang it! Just got traded from Cleveland. That's over there.
Oh, he's bad too. Trent Richardson.
Yeah, Trent Richardson.
I've got him on my fantasy team, and I benched him. He's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, here's
Trent. I hope that makes you cry.
Who went from being a top prospect to what the hell happened?
Just nothing. Paul, who do you got? Tennessee at Indy.
Indy.
All right, fair enough. By the way, Indy right now is still leading that division. Trojo.
Yeah, I'm still going to go with Indy, but they are looking horrible.
They're looking hurt.
Desi?
They're looking hurt.
Indy.
Good pick, girl. Good pick. Whoa.
Yeah, I'm curious about something really quick. Let's see where Tennessee
just pick
is
your
in
damn
there.
team.
I'm curious what Tennessee has
Just
the record.
pick your goddamn team. Who's going to win
We
the
were
game?
talking about how we had to speed up football picks, and now you're slowing us
I'm
down.
going to go with Indy as well.
Jesus
I
Christ,
wouldn't be
Kevin.
surprised if Tennessee pulled it off.
I might
pick's already
reserve.
gonna
I might
cost you.
reserve to change that one a little later.
Trojo, Chicago traveling to Minnesota to take on the Minnesota Nobodies.
You know what? They're in Minnesota. Chicago still don't have a whole lot going for them right now either.
Who saw St. Louis? I mean, I know that Paul picked them, but
I watched.
But God, they got clobbered, man.
Yes, they did. I'm gonna go with the Purple People Eaters. I'm gonna go with
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
All right, Desi. What is this that
the
you're
Bears.
playing?
Whatever it is he's playing, I wish he'd change it.
Yeah, stop that. It's hard to concentrate.
I am trying.
I got
to speed
Chicago
through
as
the
well.
I don't know what this stuff has in it.
Paul,
don't
what are you
fucking
playing,
bust my
Paul?
nuts about this, Mr. Dallas.
Chicago
freaking
at
Cowboys
Minnesota.
fan. This dude is reserved to his team
Paul.
getting their asses kicked in the playoffs already, and he's telling me what
Paul,
to play and not play.
Chicago
What?
at Minnesota.
Does this bust?
What is it?
Chicago at Minnesota.
Chicago. Why? Because I can make a fucking decision quick. Chicago.
Fair enough. Thank you. Desi. The Miami Dolphins head to New York
Dolphins.
to take on the JETS Paul Madden Sex Life.
Dolphins.
Jets. Dolphins.
Listen, I had some great sex today, so y'all need to back up off me a little
Someday I hope you have a partner there with you when you do it. All right. I'm gonna
Shouldn't that
go.
be reserved for you?
I'm gonna go with Miami as well. Paul.
I'm sorry. What?
Miami at the Jets.
Miami.
And Trojo. Go with black quarterback. Is that what you're gonna say?
The way he been playing. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go with the Jets only because they've been winning one, losing one, winning one, losing one, winning one, losing one.
Did they just lose?
They did lose.
They did lose today. They got clobbered by
That's
the
logic
Ravens.
for you right there, brother.
I know.
All right.
Crazy logic, isn't it?
Here we go. Arizona travels to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Philadelphia is tied atop the NFC East. Arizona has no shot of. Well, they're 7-4 actually.
They're 7-4. Arizona is.
Yeah, what do you mean they got no
silent
shot?
killers right
the
now,
way
bro.
Arizona's going, they could be a wild card
They
team.
sure
They're in
the hell
second
can.
place in the NFC West.
That's the hope. Yeah. I mean, if they do it, then San Francisco won't.
They got a legitimate wild card shot right now.
I'm hoping for them actually, because then if they're in, San Francisco's not, and Colin Kaeperdoodle will not have anything to do for the postseason. I'll pick first. I will go with Philly. I believe that Chip Kelly's got that team working very well. By the way, Nick Foles has thrown 16 touchdowns and no interceptions. Paul? Arizona
Actually,
at Philly.
I think this is a tough pick, to be honest with you.
I agree.
I think it's a real tough pick. I want to pick Philly, but my gut's telling me that the Cards are going to go in there and they're going to make a statement. Their
Fair
defense
enough.
is damn good.
Trojo.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going with Arizona on this one. I was actually watching some of what they was doing today. They're solid killers right now.
So you got Arizona?
I got Arizona.
Desi? Arizona at Philadelphia?
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking. I'll go with the Eagles.
Eagles?
Yeah.
I knew you and I would agree on that. You and I are such a good couple.
We're not a couple.
All right, Paul, shut up, bitch.
You would have put that in. Hey, you would have used her box like she asked you to.
I'm going to use your box.
She asked you. She asked you to put some stuff in her box, and you didn't do it.
I'm gonna.
Don't shake your head. No, you know I'm telling the truth, Des.
I never use the term box.
I
okay?
use the
You're-
term box.
All right, Paul,
But
Tampa
what you
Bay.
asked him to do, there was a box right
We got
in
9
front of him.
minutes, Paul.
What?
Tampa Bay at Carolina.
Carolina.
Carolina
They're-
nearly
they're-
lost that game today.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah, but they didn't.
yeah, nearly doesn't.
Trojo?
count.
Carolina.
Desi?
Carolina.
Yeah, I agree too. Carolina. I think they could very well be the best non-division winning team in the NFC.
Could be.
Yep. Desi, New England, fresh off their overtime win of Peyton Manning and the Manningettes, travels to Houston to take on a team that has completely fallen apart.
The Patriots.
Yeah, New England. Yeah, I'm going to go with New England as well. I'd like to know what the fuck happened to Houston. I mean, they
Seattle
were supposed
happened
to be
to Houston.
but they were
Shut the
supposed to
fuck
be.
up.
They were. Did he just do the? Oh no, you didn't.
I did.
Yes, he really did.
All right, I got New England too. Paul,
New England.
Trojo.
New England, man.
All right. All right, I'll pick first. This is my shit stain game of the week. The Atlanta Falcons and the Buffalo Bills play in Buffalo or in Toronto or somewhere where Buffalo calls home. I don't know who the fuck to pick because both of these teams are so god-awful, I'd rather throw myself off a building. God, man. Shit.
Smart man to pick Buffalo here.
I don't know.
They're the home team.
They are the home team. And
You always said go for the home team.
when in doubt, go with the home team. I got Buffalo. Paul?
Of course, Atlanta almost beat and upset New Orleans today, the number 2 team in the NFC.
Not today,
I'm gonna go
Thursday.
Fine, Thursday. I'm going to go with Atlanta.
Okay, Trojo?
Yeah, Atlanta is actually better than what they're playing. They got to. I mean, their season is shot now, but they need to just turn it around just to save face. And to lose to Buffalo would just be an absolutely slap in the face. So I got to go with Atlanta.
And Des.
Bills.
See, again, her and I agree. We're such a good couple.
She has a personal reason why she picked the Bills.
Yeah, because she's on my jock. All right, Paul. St. Louis, who surprised Chicago today, travels to
surprise
San
me.
Francisco.
Didn't surprise me.
Travels to San Francisco to take on Colin Kaepernick and the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Paul?
And I think San Francisco is going to have a surprise or two up its belly for San Francisco. And I think like they did last year, they're going to walk in there and they're going to win that game.
You got St. Louis?
St. Louis. I'm going out on a limb on this one because I know it's unlikely, but St. Louis is playing much better football right now than San Francisco is.
Trojo?
Wow, you know.
Do it.
I'm gonna go with the home team on it just because.
That's not what I meant when I said do it.
Because I gotta tell you though, watching the Rams, they are.
They got it going on in the second half of the season.
They done stepped it up, but this
The NFC West is definitely
here's
the
the
best
reality.
top to bottom division
This
in football.
could mean the 49ers playoffs if they don't win.
That's
this
right.
one. So they'll play out of desperation. 49ers.
Yeah, you got San Francisco. Desi?
49ers.
Yeah, I'm going to go with San Francisco as well. If this was in St. Louis, I'd be tempted to go with the Rams. And as much as I want San Fran to lose, I just don't think they will. Trojo, Denver heads to Kansas City. So here's the question. Does Denver lose their second game in a row, or does Kansas City lose their third game in a row after starting undefeated for so long?
They have been exposed, I believe, the Kansas City Chiefs
Kansas City started out
Kansas
9-0.
City cannot stop a good offense. They can't. They can't
Kansas
really
City
beat
has 9-0.
Kansas City can't beat a good offense.
Kansas City started out 9-0, and then they lost their next two.
If you put a good scoring offense against them, they can't stop them. And for that reason alone, we know Denver can score no matter what.
You know, Peyton's going to be pissed, too.
Denver.
Desi?
Denver.
Yeah, I'm going with Denver as well, too. I can't see Kansas City winning. They might very well back into the playoffs with like 7 losses in a row. I mean,
That's not going to happen.
No, they won't lose that many in a row.
But I mean, I could see them losing like 5 out of 7 or something like that to end the year. And
their offense is terrible.
Paul?
Denver. I don't even have to think twice about it, brother.
All right. Desi, Cincinnati traveling to San Diego to take on the Chargers. San Diego has a 5-6 record. Cincinnati is 7-4 and leading the AFC North.
I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Cincinnati.
Because I doubted them last week and they won.
Cincinnati has to win this game just to maintain a lead over Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Paul?
They're in San Diego?
They're in San Diego.
We'll go with San Diego.
Trojo?
You got, 6 or 7 teams over there in the AFC all sitting at 5-6. San Diego being one of them, and San Diego is starting to heat up. They're making that push. San Diego.
Wow, you must really like Phillip Rivers. All right, fair enough.
No.
All right, the final Sunday game is the late game.
San Diego does that to people every year, though.
Let me tell you about this game really quick. Here's what we have in this game. We have 2 teams playing the bottom spots of the division. One team is 4-7, and one team is 3-7 with a game coming up tomorrow night. The Giants head to Washington to take on the Redskins. Trojo.
Damn, I got to pick this game, don't I?
Yeah, you do. You can pick a tie.
Yes, I could. You know, they're playing in.
They are playing in Washington, D.C.
I had to go to this song.
I actually like. I believe.
This is the song. I made a video about the Legion of Boom, and this is the song that I used the theme
I pick
song.
a tie. I won't choose either one of those teams. The hell with both of them. I pick a tie.
Pick a tie?
Yep.
I don't know why you would do that to yourself.
This is a personal thing with those two.
I just don't know why you would do this to yourself. You're screwing yourself out of a point. You should pick one here and then one on the double down, so at least you get 1 point. This way you're not going to get any. All right, Desi?
Okay, you talk me into it. Sure, Giants.
All right.
Good salesman.
All right, Desi?
I'll go with the Redskins. I love this song.
The Redskins. All right. I'm going to go with the Redskins as well. And Paul?
New York Giants.
All right, now it's time for the Monday night game. Desi, you're going to pick first.
Arguably the most important Monday night football game in the history of Seattle Seahawks football.
The New Orleans Saints travel to the Clink to take on Marshawn Lynch, Beast Mode, Part 2, and the Seattle Seahawks. Desi?
I'll go with the Seahawks.
She has Seattle.
Can't believe she actually had to think about it.
I have Seattle.
Because I like the Saints.
Paul?
Do you have to fucking ask?
You have to say it.
I'm fine.
Say it.
Okay. Seattle.
Thank you.
You're
Trojo.
Well, gentlemen,
You ain't gonna do it. You ain't
come
gonna.
to an end.
You was not
The
not next
home
Monday.
stretch is over.
Yeah?
In an upset.
Okay.
In an upset.
Thank you.
We're going to double down, buddy.
In an upset.
All right. All right.
It will be the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
Ending the win streak of the Seattle Seahawks.
So you're saying the Saints?
He's got the
I'm
Saints.
calling the Saints.
Now it's time for the double downs. Here's the games that you get to
Don't
choose
even
from.
bother reading them. Just
Well,
pick
but we
them.
need to because Desi may not want to, and Tro has to pick his as well, although he might pick Washington. Here's what we've got. Detroit, Green Bay, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Cleveland, Chicago, Minnesota, Miami, New Jersey. New York Jets, sorry. Philadelphia, Arizona, Atlanta, Buffalo, San Fran, St. Louis, Cincinnati, San Diego, Redskins, and the Giants in Seattle, New Orleans. I pick first. I pick Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. St. Paul.
Oh, definitely. I always take Seattle as my double down. I'm not backing off of that this week.
Trojo.
I would love to take the Saints in a heads up on that, but the fact of the matter is, like you said, you talked me into it. I'm taking the Washington Redskins. I can't take it.
Or you could go back to pick
You're
a tie.
taking Washington Redskins? Mr. I'm never going to pick
because
Washington.
he's picking the Giants and then the Redskins, so that they'll cancel each other out. He'll get at least 1 point.
I understand that.
Or you go back and pick a tie, and if you're that confident in New Orleans, you'll get a point there. So it'll still be a wash.
All right.
So what do you
I'll
want?
stand with what I stand with.
Washington, all right. And Desi,
49ers.
San Francisco. All right, that concludes our NFL picks. We'll go to the top of the hour break when we come back. It is time for the last call.
And there are lots of special things coming to you tonight on the last call.
Last call.
I
That's
mean,
right.
I personally spent hours today working on my special tribute for the last call. I think you guys are going to absolutely love it. Well, most of us will. One of us may not. I don't know.
But to be honest, he didn't spend hours.
Yes, I did.
There's no way you spent hours on that.
Oh, yes, I did. Editing that, I most certainly did.
You spent hours on that. You need to get retrained.
I'd piss off. It was 30 minutes long, and I cut it down to 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
All right, we're back after this. Outlaw Radio Network's last call is next. Stay tuned on EdgeMediaSource.com.
Get Outlawed